Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados, live right here on Think Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is back, and we've got a fantastic panel to blow it all off. I'm going on vacation for 3 weeks. This will be the last show, at least hosted by me, but Aaron Sparrow is going to step in and host a couple of shows while I'm gone. And to celebrate, we do have a big-time guest, a huge YouTuber, I would say an influencer, Neon, from Clownfish TV.
Where is he?
Oh, you know where he is.
No. Hi, how's it going?
Doing well. I'm very impressed by your Transformers collection, sir.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's about 5%. I got too many toys. I think it's funny, people. I got into a fight with somebody on Twitter. Well, that's pretty much every day. But I got into a fight with somebody on Twitter, and they're like, "You don't collect Transformers. You don't know anything about Transformers." I'm like, dude, I put a down payment on our first house from selling my first collection. I know a thing or two.
Very nice. So what's your favorite Transformer of all time? Do you have a favorite toy?
Power Master Optimus Prime.
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Original or recent release?
The original. I haven't gotten the re-release yet, but he was because I didn't have the original Prime when I was a kid. So I got Power Master Optimus Prime. I'm like, oh my God, they killed Prime. They brought him back. I get a bigger Prime. And I got him for Christmas one year, and he was my Optimus Prime, and I love him. He's a brick, but he's beautiful.
Yeah, those old Transformers were bricks because they were all made out of metal. Like, you could literally kill your brother with those things.
You could, yeah. But I got too many toys. I'm not going to grow up, but I appreciate the invite. I listen to you guys, and I'm just going to kind of follow along because I'm the outsider here, so I'll just nod and agree with whatever Aaron says.
No, you just got to jump in and
okay. Right.
It is all. I am always right, so it is good to agree with me.
Have you been reading the Transformers comic book from Skybound, the Energon?
Yeah. Now I'm a couple months behind, but it's good stuff. I mean, this shows you like the huge difference. I talked about this before. Like IDW started out really strong, they're really good, and then they got weird. They got really weird, and everybody's kind of like, yeah, Transformers are kind of falling off. G.I. Joe's kind of falling off. All it took was somebody else to get the license that knew what they're doing, that respected the material, respected the fans, and went back to basics to blow it up. I mean, the sales are just astronomical on these books. So all depends on who's doing them. If you're
2 months behind, you've got some awesome Megatron in your future. Let's put it that way.
I saw that. I'm like, damn it, spoilers. But that's awesome. Yeah.
I didn't tell you the story behind it because it's so much cooler than the one page I put out. It's an amazing story. It's one of the best comic books this week, easily.
I gotta get caught up, definitely. Yeah. But no, they're putting good stuff out. I mean, that's the thing is, we talk about kind of, I guess the death of pop culture on the channel a lot, but there is some really good stuff out there, and I think that some of these companies are starting to course correct. I think they have to. It's like eventually the money is going to run out, right? I mean, it's not hard, like to get the old fans to get back on board. All you got to do is give them what they want. And they tell you. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the internet. People tell you what they want.
Absolutely. And are you one of those dudes that draws a line in the sand? Like, I can like Transformers, so I can't like G.I. Joe?
No. I mean, I like both. I got to tell you. So I'm kind of a purist, though, because I never thought that I'm going to get so much crap for this. I never thought that the Transformers and the G.I. Joe universes, to me, to mash them up, it doesn't make a lot of sense, because I'm like, what's Cobra when you've got Decepticons? It's kind of like, but I always, I mean, I appreciate they did the crossover in the comics. I appreciated they did, it was kind of a cool what if. So, but I mean, Energon universe has been pretty solid. I mean, they brought together pretty well. And there's a reason for these characters to coexist, and that's cool. Now, do I think they could pull it off in live action? No. I think it would. I don't think it would work very well in live action. They're going to try again and again and again, but no, actually, the Skybound's been doing a really good job with it, so I don't have any complaints.
Yeah, I'm loving the G.I. Joe series as well. So definitely appreciate Neon coming on, talking some geeky goodness with us. I think we're all missing Geeky Sparkles, and hopefully we'll have her on the show soon.
Yeah, we'll get her on one of these days.
Yeah, she's absolutely phenomenal as well. Welcoming back also to the channel, John's Lawn Box. Hey, we got a lot of great feedback. Everyone loved having you on the show, dude.
Yeah, I love being on the show, and a lot of people have been reaching out. I was just showing off. I just picked up G.I. Joe #2.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of people have been reaching out, telling me they saw me on the show. They thought it was fun. Thank you guys. I really enjoyed it. Wes invited me back last week, but I had to work, so I'm back. Work gets in the way of fun all the time. Don't you hate that? I wish I didn't have a job. I wish I was just a comic book reader. Everything. But there you go.
It is the best job in the world.
Yes. My job? Yeah, I'm
a comic book reader for a living. It's phenomenal. I love it.
I thought you could say my job is I'm a subterranean dweller in Manhattan, fixing all the power in the tunnels in the city below the city. So it is pretty cool. I imagine like the mole man's attacking, and I pretend there's alligators as I'm walking around in the subterranean depths beneath Manhattan. Yes, there is Manhattan.
Have you ever come across a river of slime?
I've come across a river of poop. And I'm not exaggerating.
That's not as good as Ghostbusters.
Slime would have been an upgrade.
Sounds like New York City to me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I hear it's like it smells like nothing but weed and pee there now.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot stress this enough. Manhattan is disgusting. Manhattan is the grossest place in the world. I do not recommend.
I don't know, dude. I was in Kandahar and it wasn't no picnic there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. In New York, at least the rivers of poop are below the ground.
Exactly. So, John, you also have a comic book that you're currently crowdfunding. We got a link in the video description. Do you want to talk about that here for a minute?
Yeah, I have a comic called Heroic Tales. Heroic Tales is an homage to Bronze Age superheroics. It's drawn by the same artist that Aaron has, Renzo Rodriguez, so you know the art is going to be good. I got the same colors. Oscar Carano and Daniel De La Silva is also color. So Heroic Tales is 2 complete stories per issue, 2 different superheroes. The first superhero being the Patriarch. He's a loving father, he's a beloved husband, and he's a renowned superhero. I got real tired of all these, it's toxic masculinity, and then you turn on the commercial and the father's the goofball who doesn't know how to open up the box of spaghetti or something like that. So I wanted to make like my father. He went to work every day. My father loved my mother. We had a happy family. We had 7 kids. So I made a superhero basically as homage to my dad. He has 7 kids. He's a superhero. He's a good guy. He comes home. He can't wait to be with his wife and kids. But unfortunately, there's giant robots and monsters and villains attacking the city. So that keeps him away from doing what he really loves, which is being a family man. He's also, it's like, how do you raise a family in a world of supervillains? Well, they homeschool, they homestead, they're off the grid, which is causing problems in the family life. The son's 19 years old. He wants to go college and meet chicks and stuff like that. But how do you do that when evil villains are targeting you? So that's the family life, superhero life of the Patriarch. The other story is going to be rotating. It's a different superhero. I'm introducing a character called Mary Sue. And this is a response to every time you make up a woman character, she's the best. She's the girl boss. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take that trope and run with it. So Mary Sue, her name is Mary Sue, S-U. She's a 3rd-generation Chinese immigrant. Like her grandparents were born in Mao Zedong's China. They fled persecution, came to the United States penniless, opened up a store, became wealthy, and she is now perfect. She's a good-looking girl. She's got 3 PhDs at the age of 22. She's a good girl. She doesn't drink. She's religious, and she's absolutely perfect. And now she gets superpowers. So where do you go when you're already perfect? So that's the dilemma of Mary Sue. It's so good. It's Renzo's best art. No offense, Aaron, but it's Renzo's best art. It's so good.
We're gonna have a nerd fight. Get him.
You haven't seen all the Doomface yet. That's all
I know. You got if you're not pumped for your own stuff, you got to be excited for it. Doomface looks awesome.
Always be pimping, yo. Always be pimping.
Yes.
ABP. You hear that?
That's right.
Very nice. And if you're interested in Heroic Tales, as I said, there is a link in the video description, and you can go check that out. Being funded right now, and congratulations, Sean, on the success, dude. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's so good. I can't wait for you guys to read it.
Very, very nice. We've also got Dylan, the real comic book gamer. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing good, man.
It's freaking Superman week. You should be doing awesome.
Well, yeah, we got the trailer, so I'm just waiting for the movie at this point. The trailer's nice and all.
You've had
but
enough?
I'm waiting for the movie. That's just what, you know. That's what I'm
Did you
waiting
read
for, because you never
Supergirl
know.
#1 this week?
Nope. Don't care.
It was a good week for DC, though. Like almost
Yes, it was a
everything I
great
read
week
from them
for
was
DC.
not just good; it was amazing.
Yeah. Great comic book week. Unlike last week, there's a lot of good books out this week.
Yeah, last week was rough, but that Aquaman was pretty badass, dude.
Aquaman was sick. Batman and Robin was great as always. Yeah, it's a good week for DC.
Man, so what you got? You got any big videos coming up this week? People need to know
I
about?
just posted a video on the Superman trailer. So I just posted a video going all over the Superman trailer, my thoughts on it.
All right, so I'll ask you a question now. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Superman trailer in full later. Is that Mercy Graves or is that some lady from the Wildstorm universe?
Oh, that's Engineer from Wildstorm.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people's initial impression was that was Mercy Graves with like nanotech or something.
Yeah, no, Gunn already came out and said it was an Engineer like a while ago. And I think they're kind of making her fill the Mercy role, though. I believe I saw something where the actress that plays her says like her whole goal is just pleasing Lex. So I think they're kind of making her fill the Mercy role.
That's exactly what the Engineer did in the Authority. Exactly.
Yeah, makes sense. So there you go. Definitely go check that out on Dylan's channel. There's a link in the video description for that one as well. And we got a big UFC event this weekend. Should people waste their time on that one?
It's not a big event. It's a terrible fight night. You got old ass Gilbert Burns fighting some new guy. It's not a great card. No, Paul Craig will be fighting, and he's always interesting because he's that guy that's got good jiu-jitsu but no takedowns and no strikings. But if you're somehow stupid enough to go to the ground with him or go in his guard, he can get you, which a lot of guys are because he fights at like 205, or I think he's at middleweight now. So he's always fun because he's just out there. He's that Scottish guy. But yeah, no, that card sucks. But it's not a pay-per-view, so at least it's not like $100.
Yeah, you only have to pay $30 for ESPN Plus.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
Absolutely. We've also got Aaron Sparrow. There have been rumors that Renzo did better work on another comic book than Doomface.
Oh,
these
well,
rumors
we'll see
true?
about that. We'll see about that. There's pages I haven't shown off yet.
Ah.
Can't
So I'm
spoil
going on
everything.
vacation, but Aaron, you were going to host the aficionados for 2 weekends while I'm gone, right? Oh no, you blurred out.
I am.
Did you
It's
hear
gonna
me?
be me up in that corner box.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, I think Sparrow just had like a glitch in the internet.
Blink twice if you're in Cleveland, Aaron. Please let us
I think
know.
he's 5 seconds behind us.
Uh-oh.
All right, well, Aaron's
Thank you.
also got Deal Before Doomface wrapping up any moment now. There's also a link in the video description. Renzo is well employed these days and doing amazing work. I believe he said the pencil to the inks are all complete. The colors are done, and now they've moved on to lettering and post-production. So Kneel Before Doomface should be getting out to the peoples and the masses any day now, and that crowdfunding will be basically closed for good. So if you've been on the fence, now is the time to go check that bad boy out. And last but not least, we do have Sully, the most positive man in all of comic books. How you doing, Sully?
Hello. I'm doing wicked pissa and getting better by the minute. And I mean, Aaron, what a great frame for you to freeze on. I mean, I want to cut and paste that. That could be your new Twitter avatar. I mean, and I'm hamming up my Boston accent, of course.
I love it.
Good
I
to see
love
you. Hi, everyone.
So what you doing, Sully? You got any new soup recipes, or are you doing some more gratitude?
I do gratitude daily, and it's helped me improve my life from the inside out, and I pay it forward. And I got plenty of videos for you to come, and you can make yourself feel better by changing your own perspective. Are you mad at comics? Well, start with yourself first. Make your bed, stuff like that. But yeah, well, you know who had a terrible week this week was Marvel Comics. I read 19 Marvel floppies this week, and only 3 of them were decent to good. It was Red Hulk, Daredevil, and Ultimate Black Panther. Everything else was effing trash. And I'm positive.
Wow. They put out 19 books?
I'm positively. Yeah, I read. They might have put out more if with facsimiles and other things, but yeah, I read 19 new Marvel comics this week, including a really awful Star Wars book called Star Wars Jedi Knights, which is set in in the prequel era, and it's supposed to. The first 2 issues were decent, and this one it bottomed out. And I'm like, oh come on, I just want some good Star Wars, please.
It's supposed to be Qui-Gon and Anakin together for an adventure.
It's Qui-Gon and young Obi-Wan, yeah, and it's a flashback,
yeah, right.
And it's like it was just so boring and just badly paced and just But there were Red Hulk. It's a One World Under Doom tie-in, and it's really fun and it's well drawn, and it's Ben Percy at his best, I think, right now. Yeah.
Do you collect these comics every month?
I have a pull list. I'm in the reviewer circuit, so I read these digitally, but then I will buy anything that I think is good and worthy, because I'm the biggest fan of my local comic book shop. I am the evangelist of funny books. I go to my church, my gospel, every Wednesday, a new release day. I could get my new comics, and I get a brown paper bag full of comics. What did I get this week? What's in the bag? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Yeah, I love funny books. Lifelong passion.
So, Sparrow, you fell out there with some internet issues. I was talking about the production cycle that you were on with your comic book. Where are you at, and when can people start expecting you before Doomface?
It is in letters right now. So the first issue is we're going to be wrapping up. As soon as the letters come in, we'll move into post-production and get our print date set. So once that happens, we'll put out the call and say that, like, if you haven't backed it yet, you need to jump in now, because we're going to close off orders so that we can get our print numbers and get the book out there to everybody. So as soon as we can, we'll send out the digital copies. So people will have the digital copies before they get the physical release.
Very nice. It turns out I knew most of where you were then. I was paying attention. I got most of that out.
Yeah, you've been paying good attention. I like it. You've been on board.
Very nice. Let's hear it for the people. As American Texan says, howdy, party people. Where is this going on? There it is. There it is. Howdy, party people. Glad to see John on the show again, and thanks to Sully for the shout out this morning. Aaron, One World Under Doomface, when?
Oh, there's a plan for it. I definitely want to use that name for a big event, but I've got so much groundwork to lay down, and production just depends on how well each series does. So if the next campaign does better, we'll be able to pay Renzo more, get him moving quicker, and have a quicker turnaround on everything. Because it's funny, like, people were saying on Twitter, wow, I'm damn it, losing the internet.
It
sounds like it's in the works. There's a plan for it, but Aaron will have to get there eventually. And thanks for the shout out, Sully. What are you shouting out, the American Texan?
Yeah, he mentioned me in his video this week. He's a new creator. I guess he found me through Jim's channel at Weird Science Comics. And he was like, hey, look at these floppies, just like Sully would say. And he's got new releases, and he goes to his local comic book shop as well. So, yeah, I pimped him a bit this morning. I was like, yo, everyone, subscribe to this guy. He had a good radio voice. It was a good job. Yeah.
Very, very nice. Callum says, I wish I could draw Transformers because I had this idea of Terminator like story and setting of the Autobots, Decepticons, and humans unite to fight a quintessent invasion. Ooh, very nice. Indeed. So Neon, you've talked about this before. You're a professional comic book artist. Did you ever draw the Transformers?
I did some little bit of IDW work way back when, a couple of filler pages here and there. I'll tell you the truth. Because I love Transformers. I always wanted to draw Transformers. There's sample pages floating around out there somewhere. Somebody dug them up from, because I was trying out for Dreamwave, and then they went under. So it's a good thing I didn't, get work with them. But it's a lot of work. Drawing Transformers is, you're literally, every character is a background, right? So you're talking, you might be able to do a superhero comic, 8 hours, 10 hours. Transformers, I was putting 12, 14 hours into pencils on the Transformer, so I'm like, and knowing what they were paying, I'm like, I can't, that's like minimum wage. I can't, I love Transformers, but I don't love them that much.
Yeah, you got to feel for someone like Livio Ramondelli, whose entire life is like drawing robot characters.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of work.
Yeah.
But he's good. He's damn good, really. What do you think of the Quintesson invasion? Would the Autobots, Decepticons, and humans all unite to fight off the Quintesson? I think they probably would.
Quintessence, Wes?
Whatever, dude. Quintesson.
Five-faced
Find me a
squid
locker.
people.
Chat is Wes guilty or innocent?
Oh my God.
Now, Neon, I was wondering if you could squash a beef that we had last week. Now, I said that Jazz, not only being my favorite Autobot, was Optimus's consigliere, his first lieutenant.
Yes.
The second in charge. He is?
Well, okay, so it's either Jazz or Prowl. Or so it depends. There's debate. I always thought Jazz was second in command, because like Prowl, they killed him, they never brought him back. They brought Jazz back as a toy. Jazz has been back multiple times. Jazz survived the movie, Prowl did not. Prowl got offed pretty damn quick. Spoiler.
No, Jazz got. Oh, you mean the animated movie?
Transfer. Yeah, they ripped him in. Yeah, Michael Bay killed him off. But no, in the animated movie, he survived. And I think he should have got the Matrix.
He didn't get the Matrix. He's not Rodimus Prime.
He should have got the Matrix.
No,
he should have got the Matrix.
Sucks.
Jazz to Miss Prime. He should have got the Matrix. He was second in charge. Said Hot Rod shows up, and they're like, here, kid, you're the leader. There you go.
And everybody hated
that was like. I remember being so excited for that movie as a kid, and actually like convincing my grandma to go see it and being pissed, and then watching the cartoon after and being more pissed. Like they really did kill him off. Optimus isn't coming back, and then he was like floating in space for a season.
Oh, I thought you were saying your grandma was pissed that she had to watch it.
No, my grandma was probably mad that she had to watch a cartoon, but she loved it.
Yeah, I took my grandparents. Well, my grandparents took me to go see it, and I remember I still remember this day. And I was like 8 years old or whatever, and I dragged them to go see it. They slept through it, and then there's only one other family there. I think it was a mom and her kid, and they got up and left when Spike swore. Spike said, yeah, shit, you can't have that in the movie. Then I thought it was like the Mandela effect. I thought for years that I imagined him swearing, because the home video version, they cut that out. So I got it on VHS, and I'm like, I know he swore because that kid, his mom dragged him out of the theater. I'm like, what is going on here? And then it came out on DVD. I was like, oh yeah, he did swear. Not crazy.
She was okay with all the robot murder. But
oh yeah, she didn't.
A character saying shit, that was where she drew the line.
That's where she drew the line. Yeah.
He shouldn't. I think about. He's a robot. They don't poop, so he probably should have said like.
Well, Spike shit himself. When I saw Unicron, it was Spike. Oh shit! What are we gonna do now, Bumblebee? That was like a thing. Not a trend.
And listen, IDW went out of their way to give the Transformers all biological needs and processes.
Oh my god!
They probably do shit. at least in that continuity.
So Prime can get his prostate exam like on Robot Chicken, right?
Yeah, and Michael Bay made Bumblebee pee. Remember, he pissed all over John.
Oh my god!
Yes. Now a Transformer eats Energon and poops out fossil fuels. Oh gee.
Remember all the weird dog humping in the second Transformers movie?
That was the weirdest thing.
Is there a company that specializes in? Yeah, it's like, is there a? Oh my god, you're right. The big swinging scrotum underneath Devastator that was not Devastator. But is there a company in Hollywood? Yeah, is there a company in Hollywood that just like rents out humpy dogs?
Probably. It's probably like the robot dogs they have. They got like, okay, so we got two flavors. You got humpy dog and flamethrower dog. Which one do you want?
And then remember Wheelie was humping Megan Fox's leg?
Yeah. I tried not to. Then they had the racist ice cream truck. That was fun.
Oh yeah, we've talked before about the I ain't so big on reading moment.
They blamed the writer's strike. They said, "Oh yeah, we had a writer's strike." I'm like, "Okay, sure. That's the problem."
That meant there was nobody on set who was like, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Before we get to the next super chat, which I definitely appreciate, we do need to give a shout out. We got a new backer on Think Critical Patreon. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much to DT Fan 53, aka Leonidas Prime, protector of the main hold. Really appreciate you supporting the channel over on Patreon. There's a link in the video description if you're interested in We've got awesome podcasts all week long featuring not only myself, but good friends like Aaron Sparrow, Doc, Jim, 32 Flavors, and Nick Weiser. And we got new stuff coming up every day. So really appreciate that. Definitely appreciate everyone helping support us over there on the Patreon. Next up, Jagrin 2. Go check out Clownfish TV, Neon, and Geeky Sparkles. Be ready for the F-bombs. They do a lot of good vids. We need some Aaron X Neon vids on pop culture.
Yeah, we'll do that sometime. Thank you very much. You didn't have to do that. I appreciate it. Cool.
So you're a big F-bomber? I didn't realize that. I thought I was just geeky.
I get my moments. I don't know what I can say on this channel, what I can't say on this channel. So I'm not going to.
You can say whatever it is that you want.
Yeah, we usually have Doc here, man.
Say F words.
Yeah. Doc will say some stuff.
Can I say that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? Am I allowed?
Yeah, you can
Doc
say that.
Doc is an exceptional
That's a
Bulgarian.
YouTube thing, but the host doesn't care. But YouTube might get upset with me. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. You know the game, Neon. You know better than I am. You've been doing YouTubes longer than me.
It depends. It depends on the mood they're in that day. I remember, like we were talking about
the AI that watches over you.
It is. It's the big brother AI. I remember when the pandemic first started, you were literally not allowed to talk about COVID at all.
Nope.
You couldn't even say, "Hey, my mom's in the hospital with COVID." You couldn't even say that.
Yep.
Like it was ridiculous.
Perch and I made a video about how we were going to be like grabbing all like the used lawnmower blades and making all these weapons because the world was going to post-apocalyptic because of COVID. And it was clearly a joke video and they fucking demonetized that.
Yeah, I can believe it. But then you can, jiggle your tits and you're fine.
Well, I mean,
I do that when I run. I gain some weight.
They say tits. Am I allowed to say tits?
You're definitely good.
All right.
Hot
So
balls.
you're...
See, say it.
Yeah.
Tits.
No need for earmuffs here. And then Steve McDaniel says we need Geeky Sparkles rant on Comics Aficionados. I agree. We love Geeky Sparkles. We've had her one other time, but it was like 4 years ago, I think.
It's been a while. We people think we're trying to like not hang out with other people. The thing is, we're busy. We actually have other businesses outside of YouTube, so everything has to kind of be around. We have to work it around that. But she's actually busy this morning too. So, but yeah, we'll get her on sometime. We'll get her on.
No, Neon is one of the nicest people I've met in YouTube. We talk behind the scenes, not all the time, but we probably talk a few times a week at least.
Well, I appreciate that. No, I feel the same way. We're not a bunch of hate mongers over here, right? You guys like some comic books, right? A couple of comic books.
I love 10 comic books. That's how many books I'm going to recommend on this week's Best of the Week video that
There
I've
you
been
go.
doing for
There you
over
go.
2 years. Apparently, I never recommend anything, but I've only been doing it for 2 years.
No, you're just negative all the time.
I am just negative.
Depressed Republicans. That's you do appeal it to.
Pathetic.
What the hell was that?
Just
Weird.
a little stuff.
Should we talk about Snow White for half an hour?
Maybe.
Yeah, let's talk. Oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about Snow White. Let's talk about Bella Ramsey's looks.
Oh, please.
I don't want to talk about either of those things. We got better stuff to talk about. Because Callum wants to talk about Transformers. The final fight would be Optimus and Megatron against a Starscream Quintesson hybrid, and now the two would come to a temporary truce for now. What do you think, Aaron? Is it good to get the main good guy and bad guy together? Like, I find it somewhat exciting when the Joker and Batman team up, but also there's a part of me that says Batman would never do this. Just like Optimus would never side with Megatron.
Yeah, I mean, against a greater threat, you can get away with that, and you can bounce those two characters off each other, and you can tell a good story. But it's not something that you want to. You don't want to. You like to have that tool in the toolbox, but you don't want to take it out too often because then it just gets just like wears out its welcome, just like any other trope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although after watching Transformers 1, I'm okay with Optimus and Megatron being buddies when they were teenagers.
No, I mean, that's always been there's been several incarnations where they've kind of done that, where, they were on the same side, or, before Megatron goes bad. Basically Megatron, like a lot of times gets treated like Caesar, where it's like, hey, you're the guy that has to defend us. And then he just doesn't relinquish his power and wants to, continue to lord it over everybody. So
there's no
Neon, why couldn't you turn Transformers 1 into an enormously popular movie? I know that you're so influential that you can change the tide of entire movie going box offices, because that movie was fantastic.
Yeah, it was pretty good. There are a lot of things working against it though, and like I just
It was
think
the trailer. It made it look like it was
the
for
trailer was
5-year-olds.
terrible. I was actually thinking about doing the video sometime, just talking about excuse me, good or competent movies that were tanked by their trailers. And Paramount, for some reason, does not seem to be doing right by their movies. Because we had D&D too. The D&D movie I actually thought was pretty good.
Fantastic.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
But the trailer looked like ass. Right?
Trailer was terrible.
It was
Oh my
so bad. It
God.
looked like this jokey Marvel whatever. And the movie itself was actually pretty good. And it was one of those things where I didn't go to the theater to see it. Nobody went to, and it happened in a really bad time too, because they had the whole debacle with Dungeons and Dragons, with the OGL, the open game license. So the fandom was already kind of turned against Wizards when the movie dropped. The trailer was terrible. We had the people working on the show, or working on the movie rather, talking about how it was all going to be about, empowering women, and they were going to, the men were going to take a back seat, and that did not happen in the movie. So I wait about 3 or 4 months after it comes out in digital. I have nothing better. I'm like, you know what? I'll watch a D&D movie. Fine. There it is. I forgot I bought it when it was on sale. I'll watch it. I'm like, holy shit, it's actually pretty good. I'm like, if you'd shown this scene and this scene and this scene in the trailer, you would have got butts and seats. But you didn't.
That movie did seem like me and my buddies just sitting around playing a goofy adventure in Dungeons and Dragons, which is exactly what you wanted from that movie. And like you, I was sitting home with a broken neck with nothing else to do. And after weeks of putting it off, I finally put it on, and I was like, this was good.
Yeah, I would actually, and I know some people probably gonna disagree with me here, but I thought Blue Beetle was okay. I thought it was okay. It wasn't the worst.
It was fine.
It wasn't, it wasn't the best thing ever. It wasn't the worst thing ever. But again, the controversy around that one was the trailer and the Batman line, Batman being a fascist, and then the people working on the movie going out there and making it political and everything else. But the movie itself was competent. I mean, it's better than a lot of the superhero movies we got in the 90s and early 2000s. It was okay. It was all right. I enjoyed it more than the last couple Marvel movies.
They really thought that Hispanics were going to show up for that movie. They really thought that it was going to be like the Hispanic Black Panther, and it did not work out because Hispanics don't care. If you want to pull in the Hispanic audience, what you need to do is you need to do a Goku movie. Just do a Dragon Ball movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They love Goku.
Yeah, yeah.
Did anybody see the John Carter movie? I thought it was a good movie, and man, the trailers and the advertisement just did not help that movie at all.
The name didn't help either.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a drama about a guy in a custody battle, it's like John Carter. Where it's like if you would have called it Warlord of Mars, or at least John Carter Warlord of Mars, but then they had that stupid marketing idea that because 2 Mars movies, Mission to Mars and Mars Needs Moms, flopped, people just don't like Mars. That's not the problem. They always take the wrong lessons.
Yeah, John Carter, another good one. Then Calum says, I'm an incel for saying a girl boss Lois Lane how effing original. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but all I got from that trailer is James Gunn. That's it. I like the trailer enough, but I did think Lois Lane came off as somewhat unlikable, or perhaps pretty unlikable.
Lois is a ballbuster and has been in her current incarnation for a long time.
That's true. I thought you were completely doing Callum dirty there. You're like, I'm an incel, and you just take his comment away. It's like, that's it from Callum. All right, next one. Let's go.
Felt like you were setting him up.
I think he's talking about the feedback he got on social media. He said he pointed out she was a girl boss, and everyone called him an incel.
Yeah, but Lois is a girl boss.
Lois Lane has been insufferable at least since the John Byrne takeover, right?
Yeah. Yep.
John Byrne really made me not like the character. I like Margot Kidder. I forget the woman's name from the Black and White show. And Lois Lane was always just a snappy woman. Just helpful woman. And then John Byrne I remember her introduction. She kicks open the door and she says, "What's news, wage slaves?" And I hated her ever since. I just thought that was the worst introduction or reintroduction of a character of all time.
You act like Lois wasn't insufferable in an entirely different way during the Silver Age, where it was always like, I'm gonna prove that Clark Kent is Superman. It's like just constantly.
I'm gonna lock myself in this bomb to get the scoop
Yeah, and then Superman was always messing with her, like, "Oh, Lois, you wanted to marry Superman. Well, now Superman's a black guy. You won't marry me now, will you?" And it's like,
Oh
what are you
my
doing? What are you doing, Superman?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought
Superman
she
has
got
her
better
on her.
after John Byrne, to be honest.
Superman has her over her knee and she's spanking her. That's what you deserve.
She's supposed to be spunky, but she's not supposed to be over the top annoying, which
Right.
you get hints that it could happen in the trailer, at least in my opinion, Dylan. What did you think of
it's
Lois?
a hard balance. My problem is, so James Gunn the entire time has said that All-Star Superman is essentially the only Superman comic that exists, and it's his favorite. And great comic. My only problem is that I don't like Lois in that comic because her whole thing is she couldn't give two shits about Clark, but she loves Superman. I don't really care for that characterization of Lois, but that is kind of Silver Age Lois. And that's what James Gunn's taken inspiration from. And it seems like that's probably what we're going to get in the movie. So not super excited about that. But again, you never know till you see the movie. This is just a trailer, so we'll see.
Very nice. Then he says, Ironheart gave me a scenario. Kevin Feige walks down the street and says, "Hello, my fellow blacks. Word to your mother. I swear it's ghetto fatigue."
I can see Kevin. I want to see Kevin Feige saying "word to your mother." I want him to be wearing the big Vanilla Ice jacket, with the Marvel Studios logo on the back. That'd be great.
A starter jacket from the 80s?
Yeah. I always say that I do the normie test where I show my friend Marie these geek things and get her opinion. And I showed her the Superman trailer and I showed her the Ironheart trailer back to back. And Superman, she was like, she's like, "I don't really care about superhero movies anymore, but I think I want to see that. I think that looks fun. That looks hopeful." And then I showed her Ironheart and she just laughed and went, "Nope."
Yeah.
That's because she's a racist, by the way. That's that's the only answer.
Oh, she rolled her eyes when it got to the part about or when they said, "You just want the world to recognize how great you are," whatever the exact line is, and she just rolled her eyes like, "Oh, here we go."
I put on the Superman trailer in my house, and my kids were screwing around, and within 10 seconds, none of them were moving, and everybody was watching it. So I would say it's very effective. And after the end, my wife was like, "Please tell me that's coming out while we're on vacation so we could see it when we're out and about." And I was like, "No, it comes out after that." So she's not into superheroes anything like I am, but she definitely wants to see that Superman movie, and so do the three boys. So I would say it's effective at a minimum.
It's bright and cheerful, except for this new one where Lois is yelling at Superman, and that I didn't like.
He's yelling at her. She's not yelling at him.
I think to me that was just like Superman is in control. Like, in order to control Superman's power and awesomeness, you need the will of Superman. You know what I mean? And him losing his temper at Lois, even though he's Clark Kent, just to me diminished the character a little bit.
Completely disagree. Completely disagree.
Same. Yeah. I mean, that's the humanity within the Kryptonian.
She was being a fucking pain in the ass. What was he supposed to do?
Well, also, nobody gets
put her through a wall.
Lady.
Nobody gets under your skin like the person that you love the most. That person can get they know your buttons and they can get under there. And she's doing her job. She's asking him the hard questions that he will be asked. That the thing. This is what
she was going out of her way to be a pain in the ass, Aaron. That's not her job.
She's not going out of her way to be a pain in the ass. She's going out of her way to get the scoop, to get the story. She's giving him the opportunity to explain himself, and I understand his frustration. Like we said on the video you and I did, Wes, it's his righteous anger. He's like, well, why am I still being I did the right thing. How can nobody see that? Why are so many people questioning me? Why are people mad at me? I stopped a war. I saved lives. But as we know,
she knows that she was just being a pain in the butt,
because she's not there asking him what she thinks. She's asking him, this is what the public sentiment is. This is what people are saying. How do you respond to it? That's called an interview.
Nah. She was being an annoying girlfriend.
She was being critical.
I know that we're all, we had 4 years of the media not asking any tough questions. Like the toughest question they asked was, "Oh, you're so great. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?" Oh, we had 4 years of that. So I understand nobody recognizes real journalism anymore, but real journalism is asking the hard questions.
Sleeping Dangle says Nicholas Hoult will probably be the standout of the movie, and I agree. He does look like he's going to be a very good lens.
I'm excited. I really hate. I know it's blasphemy. I love Gene Hackman, but I always thought the scary real estate guy was a bad use of Lex Luthor. You know what I mean? I want him to be a menacing businessman. You know, that is the most terrifying. Next to a politician, a menacing businessman is probably the worst villain of all. Instead of the
Well,
real
he's
estate.
going to be a politician too. They're clearly moving to President Lex.
Oh yeah, okay. I didn't even think of that.
You're getting a little Gene Hackman nod in though the suits, like they're not quite as loud, but they're just they got that little pattern going. So just they're kind of like paying homage to, I think, that version as well. So but you're getting an intimidating, calculating Lex Luthor.
Do you think this Lex Luthor will get defeated by Hantavirus at the end of the movie? And
too soon.
It's certainly a massive improvement over the dude that was in The Social Network.
Yeah.
Yes.
With all his weird noises. His weird noises and putting that Jolly Rancher in that guy's mouth and just like pushing it in there and be like,
did not like that version of Lex.
Oh, weird. But you know what? But Wes, that movie had themes. He talked about gods and monsters. It had themes.
Yeah, the painting.
You might say that stuff, but
Dylan
still
get it.
It feels a great movie. Don't get him upset.
That's not Batman v Superman. That's a different movie.
Oh, my bad.
What do you guys?
Completely different movie. Batman v Superman sucks.
My problem. I don't know. I just don't think this guy looks Superman enough. The actor, he seems like a nice guy, but he looks like too boyish. He looks like he should be in a boy band rather than Superman. He's got that moppy, floppy.
He's
hair.
man pretty.
He's man pretty. It's like they're going for Superman for all seasons. They're going for the Cupid doll kind of face Superman.
They had a weird looking Superman on that Superman and Lois show on CW, and I thought he did great, even though he didn't look exactly like Superman.
Yeah, it looks nothing like Superman, but he did a great job in the role.
Yeah, but he was masculine. He had he had like
his little chin.
Yeah.
What was that, a little stubble on him?
I think Corn Sweat looks good as Superman. I think he looks like a masculine Superman. He's big. He's in shape. I think the problem is the suit does him no favors. The suit's like baggy, the lines. I think that's the problem because you see him as Clark Kent, and he looks great. And then the suit, it's the most unflattering Superman suit. I think that's the issue.
They got the colors.
The colors
right.
are good. Yeah,
the colors are right, but I agree with you. There's too many lines. I don't like the new 52 looks with those just
the collar. Yeah. I think it's.
But he does look quite Diesel as Clark Kent. He looks enormous.
Yeah. Superman shouldn't look better as Clark Kent, though.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's the actor's fault. I think it's the suit.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know I'll catch hell for saying this, but that woman who plays Lois Lane is just the sexiest thing. I can't wait. She seems like a jerk in real life.
How dare you call a woman sexy on my channel, John? You sexist son of a bitch.
Oh my goodness.
Back in the 1890s, when I was
behavior is this? Identifying attractive woman.
We're going to have the Snyder Bros and the feminists against us now. Way to go.
I'll do better.
Caleb says, I liked Amy Adams' Lois Lane and the one from that movie versus the League.
Amy Adams should have been Lana Lang. I know it's petty, but she had red hair.
I mean, LK was already right in the chat when he said that Dana Delaney was the best Lois Lane. I will stand by him on that.
I forgot.
Dana Delaney knows how to be sexy, sassy. Like she can have all that brassy, sassy Lois Lane attitude, but she's
a voice actor. You don't even know she is sexy. It's the cartoon.
I know what Dana Delaney looks like.
She was in a beautiful movie with Rosie O'Donnell, East of Eden.
She was in Tombstone, Wes. Come on.
I know. Yeah.
He cheated on his wife to be with Dana Delaney. I mean, granted, his wife was an opium fiend, but
Details. Jagged says, Wes loved Gwenpool #1. I hated the art. Story 4 out of 10. Wait, I gave a review. I gave it a 3 out of 10. I disliked it more than you did.
Yeah, you're rating high. Like it's not a 4 out of 10. Wes made us read that.
I did. Hopefully everyone did the assignment. It wasn't a fun comic book to read. But we'll get to it. I did not like that book. Blasphemy, Jagged. Kaiser Jose says, who bought a blind bag and what did you get?
Battle Beast. I forgot to pick it up.
You got a Battle Beast in your blind bag?
No, Battle Beast had a blind bag this week. So if you got a blind bag, you got like a random cover. People were buying them like they, I'm investing.
Multiples?
It was like the 90s all over again.
Very nice. Which cover did you get?
I forgot to pick it up.
Oh, it was really good.
Yeah, no, it looks great. The art looks phenomenal. I'm excited about it. I just as I was like picking my books, my guy was busy, so I didn't want to take up too much of his time. So I got out of there, and then I was like, oh, I forgot to ask for Battle Beast.
So Neon, you're an old school comic book reader. Did you ever get the blind bags where you could get the 3 comic books, but you didn't know what they were for like a quarter or whatever?
No, because I'm a control freak and I want to know what I'm buying. So.
You couldn't put your life in the hands of chance?
No, because I know they're trying to get rid of crap usually.
Yep.
So
hate blind boxes.
You might get like one good comic or one good whatever, and then the rest of it's just stuff they're trying to get rid of. I know this because we worked on the retail side of things too. Sometimes you got a bunch of extra stuff. Looks like a good deal. $20, you get 3 or 4 items or whatever, but only one of them is worth anything. The rest of it's stuff you're trying to get rid of, overstock.
Man, I would do blind bags. They weren't $20. It's got to be like a $5 or something. Can't be going too expensive.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Do they still do blind bags, Dylan? I know you're a younger fella.
This is the first time I've seen blind bags in I don't know how long. Yeah, this ain't like a normal thing I see at the comic shop.
I thought they had them at the Dollar Tree or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's how I remember getting when I was a kid.
Ollie's will have them now.
Ollie's still has them.
And you get like 5 comics behind, and then they'll flip the last one. So you see the first comic, you see the last comic, but you don't know what's in the middle.
It's a shit sandwich.
It's Airboy. It's Airboy.
It's I swear to God, those bags are left over from the 80s. I remember seeing those at freaking Woolworth when I was like 10, 12 years old.
No, I used to go to this store called this dime store called Newberry's, and they had just a whole like bottom shelf that was just stacks of those blind bags. They didn't even hang them; they just stacked them. And I would go in and I would sit there for like 6 hours, and I would resort the bags to get what I wanted for what I was buying, but also to make the other bags better. I would like to be like, oh no, that's 2 bad comics in there. You can't do that. You gotta mix it up.
You're offering justice.
I was. That's also how I discovered the book Femforce. I was like, these ladies are hot.
I used to call Femforce my guilty pleasure, but then I realized there's no such thing as a guilty pleasure. If you like it, own it. But I had Bill Black on my channel. He unabashedly says I like good-looking ladies and I like superheroes. So there you go.
There was always like an ad for the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman in there, and it's like and lots of things about Sybil Danning, and I was like, I don't know what's that.
Yeah, the last 6 pages are hard to read articles about movies that you've never seen, But yeah, it's a good comic. It's a fun comic.
Odin 87 says I didn't like the Superman trailer. It focused on the wrong things for me, like discussing him illegally entering another country. Way too many characters. Seems like a 3rd film, but at least it's not Ironheart.
Blasphemy. Oh my gosh.
It does. I mean, I'm not going to disagree that it does seem like it's the 3rd film because they are doing like an all-star Superman type thing, and he's already established, and it does kind of feel like this is like a movie in a series. Did I miss something? But
well, you've got Lex, you've got the Engineer, you got Ultraman,
Justice League International,
the Hammer of Bolivia, which is like something
that guy. You've got Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner,
Mr. Terrific,
Mr. Terrific,
Metamorpho,
Superman, Lois, Jimmy Olsen,
with red hair.
Good cast.
It just occurs to me that James Gunn might be the only filmmaker that would give us Mitzi's Pitlick in a movie. He might be the only one that actually gives it.
Oh, here we go. Mitz Tickleplick.
All right. Neon's got the biggest channel. Is it Mitzelplick or whatever Aaron's trying to model out there?
I always thought it was Mixelplick, isn't it?
I think that's how it is, but I've seen it actually like phonetically spelled out, and it's Mitzi's Pitlick.
Yeah, that's like the golden. That's like the Silver Age Superman.
Neon says you're wrong.
But then
I say it like Neon says it just for simplicity. Like that's how
I'm going by how they pronounce it.
On
cartoons, that's how they pronounce it. Yeah.
So somebody that's on the socials there, Dylan, and a huge Superman fan, were there a lot of people not liking the trailer? I didn't love it like as much as Mark Miller, who said it looks amazing, or even a couple other people. I think even Aaron said it was incredible. I think it's good, but I didn't think it was that good. But I hadn't seen a lot of people just saying it was crap.
Yeah, I saw most people enjoyed it. Most of the people that you see hating on it, at least for me, it's a lot of Snyder fans. That's mostly what I see for the people that didn't like it. But mostly I saw positive vibes about the trailer. It seems like
they're
people really
trying to
liked it.
nitpick. They're trying to nitpick so many things too, Dylan. Like, did you see like the guy that was like, "That's not how Green Lantern's powers work," and then like somebody in the chat is like, "Read a comic," and is showing panel after panel of Green Lantern's powers. Like, it doesn't have to necessarily come out of his ring in a line and then form. You know,
I think
he can construct it anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think the internet has gotten us used to just ripping things apart. It's too, the anonymity or whatever. It's just, I see something. There's one thing I don't like, so I'm just gonna go nuts. And unfortunately, that kind of stuff gets attention. I'm trying to.
I didn't love Lois Lane, but that's just part of the trailer. There's a lot of stuff in there to grab onto.
I'd like to grab
Superman saving that lady. Superman saving that lady at high speed. She'd be like been hit with a 6 feet.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that guy was like,
turned into paste.
Well, technically, if Superman did like run past you at his full speed, you would be atomized. So,
pin particles,
Superman is fast enough that he could stop, grab you, fly off with you, and his aura of protection.
It's protective super aura, yeah.
But also, he could stop in the blink of an eye. Like, you can't even see how he moves so fast. You can't even see that he stopped and actually grabbed you. He didn't hit you full force. When the Flash does it, he surrounds you with the speed force so that you're moving at the same velocity as him. It's comic books. It's comic books. You're already accepting that a man can fly. This is like when in Avengers and Hawkeye flipped back off the building and turned and fired. Marie goes, "Oh, come on." And I was like, this is the line. This is the line where you're like, no. But the big green monster guy and the god with the hammer and the super soldier and the man in the flying suit, all of that is fine.
They show Superman lifting up the Statue of Liberty by its hand. You know what I mean? So that implies that Superman has more than just physical strength. I know I'm going to get geeky here, but they kind of established that he puts a field around stuff when he could pick up an airplane by the nose cone and the whole airplane just doesn't shout. So as soon as he grabbed that woman, she was protected by this Superman field, you know what I mean? And took off. I didn't even think of it until people criticized. All I could think of is you don't really read comics then if that's your nitpick.
Luigi reminds me about the Patreon backers. I do appreciate that. That's why I was able to get to that when I needed to. Caleb says, Neon, I know how you feel about D&D, but I can send you a clip from that show D&D cartoon Legend of Vox Machina in your DM if you're interested.
Oh yeah, no, I've actually I mean you can if you want to. I'm familiar with it. I haven't watched it. Yeah, I've seen some clips. That's Critical Role. That's their cartoon they did. They crowdfunded it originally, and now it's on Amazon. I think they got like $12 or $14 million on Kickstarter for that. Kind of at peak D&D fever, and now it's definitely on the decline. So, but yeah, they made their money. They did pretty good on that.
Do you remember the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon on the Hanna-Barbera afternoon or whatever?
Yep.
Yeah.
They went in on the ride and they become like wizards, and like the one dude's a big axe wielder. That was Marvel. Actually, Marvel did that. Yeah, it was the same. It was Marvel Productions, Sunbow Productions, and they did it with I'm trying to think what the deal was here. I think it was on CBS. I want to say it was on CBS Saturday mornings originally. But yeah, it was a lot of the same Marvel people, a lot of the same voices. Peter Cullen was Venger, who was the bad guy. A lot of the animation you could tell was like Transformers, G.I. Joe. Same people worked on Transformers and G.I. Joe worked on the D&D cartoon. That was a good one. I liked it. It was good. It was good. Now they're trying to milk it. Like they tried to bury it for years, but they're trying to milk it now. They got action figures and all sorts of stuff. They had a nod to him in the D&D movie. The best representation though of those characters in live action was a Brazilian car commercial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because in Brazil they love, which I had no idea, they love the D&D cartoon. They love it. It's like
that is a great commercial. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so good. And I'm like, just Hollywood, just do that. Just give us a movie of that.
I want that commercial made into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great. Optimus Prime, me and a couple of buddies have started mapping out our own comic universe, talked about it for a while, and have so many awesome characters and stories already, trying to build it up like the Ghost Machine formula.
Well, advertising,
very cool.
Which is what Ghost Machine has kind of failed to do. Make sure that the word gets out there. It's exciting stuff, Aaron, when you start mapping something out and you take over something. You're like, whoa, how are we going to mix these things together? How are they going to cross over? What are we going to build it out? Yeah, it's fantastic.
You like being the architect?
Yeah, I mean, especially, you got some good collaborators with you. That's really fun. Like, I actually kind of enjoy the writers' room experience. The difference is from a writers' room in comics, or you're doing it with your buddies or whatever, is you can at least vet the people that are there and make sure that they're talented, and bring them in by merit. Like, yeah, my buddy's really good at this, and as opposed to Hollywood, where you got to go through a bunch of check boxes and you got a bunch of people in the room that can't write.
Neon, do you miss not doing the comic book art? I know you did comic book work for a long time. Do you miss that collaboration and working with people and building stuff up from scratch?
Oh, well, I mean, we still do comics. We still publish comics, but no, so yeah, I don't know if I miss working in the industry proper. I mean, it's got a lot of problems. Aaron can attest. It's it was getting pretty weird about 2014, 2015. And actually I noped out. Like I basically walked away from comics. I said, I'm not doing anymore. I think the last thing I worked on a bunch of Disney comics over the years. And I think I did some stuff for Fantagraphics on the Don Rosa books because I'm a huge Don Rosa fan. So that was awesome. That was a good way to leave. But I'm like, yeah, I have no interest in working for any of the publishers now, and the political landmine and the money is not good. It's just a very different vibe. Like I wanted to work in comics pretty much my whole life. And, when I finally broke in, it was like, I feel bad because I broke in as the industry was kind of in this tailspin. And so I got to see that, I wish I'd broken in like earlier in like the mid 90s or something. That would have been fantastic. But I didn't get in until like the early 2000s. And then we kind of watched the death spiral, real time. It's like, okay, it's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still pretty okay. Okay. Now things are getting a little weird. Okay. Now things are getting really political. Okay. Now the page rates aren't good. And then you get to a point where you're like, why am I doing this? Because literally all the time I spent drawing this comic for peanuts, I could have, like, that's 1 hour of web development for me. Right. So that's what I did. I'm like, yeah, I can't even afford. I told my last editor, I said, I'm going to have to bow out because I literally cannot afford to work in comics anymore. Like I can't look at my bills every month and look at my kids, because I got a mortgage and I got kids, and be like, yeah, daddy's going to go do comics for next to nothing when he could make literally 7 to 8 times as much money doing pretty much anything else. And that's where I was at. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do this anymore.
What a shame.
Better to do it on your own and build up your own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you might not hit the, I guess, the critical mass, with the numbers, but I mean, if you're crowdfunding or you're doing independent or you're even, doing your own webcomics, whatever, social media, chances are you're probably going to have more money in your pocket by the end of it. I mean, it depends. I mean, look, I'm not talking about the big guys at Marvel and DC that are pulling in ridiculous money. They're less than 1% of the people working in comics. So everybody's like, they point to like the big names and they're like, well, Scott Snyder's making, I'm like, yeah, that's Scott Snyder. But for every Scott Snyder, there's 300 other people that are making like minimum wage. And it's just
funny side story. The way that I met Neon was I found him on one of the Disney boards. And when I pitched Darkwing Duck to Boom, and I said, this is what I want to do, and I laid out the plan for it, and I want to call it The Duck Knight Returns. I've been thinking about this for a long time. And then I was told, well, you can't write it. The managing editor didn't like me. And, because I came in, I was the only person in the company that had actual comic experience outside of Boom. I mean, he came from Meltdown Comics. He was the guy that ordered the books, and he's like,
oh my God.
Right? Yeah, that was the qualification. It's like Jim Mosher used to tell people that, I did marketing for Apple. You worked at the Genius Bar. I mean, I guess technically you marketed Apple products, but it's like, hey, what'd you do? I drove a truck that delivered cheese. Oh, you were responsible for distributing high-end dairy products around the Southland. That kind of like resume embellishment. So I got in there and I said, okay, well, I got this Darkwing story, and they were like, well, you can't write it. And so I like, Neon was a big Darkwing fan, and I found some of his fan art online, and I was like, well, maybe I'll contact this guy. He works in comics. He seems to, know the characters. And I was told that I couldn't hire Neon because Neon had dared to post sales numbers of some of the Boom Disney books in a Disney forum and just say they're not measuring up to like Gemstone sales. And that was enough that they were like, no, you can't hire that guy.
Naughty Neon.
So yeah, it's weird. Like Aaron and I go way back. We probably met like back in like 2008. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
And we actually, did I tell you, Aaron, I was trying to pitch Darkwing Duck to Gemstone, and they didn't want to do it because they're like, it's too new. We've tried doing DuckTales books before, and like our audience, because they're old heads, they like the classic stuff. They don't respond to it. And then there's the whole licensing issue, because people don't realize, like, you have the Disney license, or even if you have a duck license, doesn't mean you have all the ducks. You might have the comic book ducks, but you don't have the TV ducks. That's a whole nother thing. But yeah, we were talking about it over there, which is actually why I did the art in the first place. And they're just like, nah, we don't think that's like a 90s thing. It's too soon. Nobody cares. You know?
See, in 2009, I was being told, it seems like it's a nostalgia play. Nobody's going to care. And it's like, right? you're doing Mickey Mouse comic books. Like, he's a sweater. Right? He's not
from the
character.
50s, for God's sake. But I was just trying to point out, and I wasn't even trying to, and this is the thing, like, my mouth gets me in so much damn trouble. But I actually work in marketing and web development and all that stuff. So I'm looking at I'm a numbers guy, and I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm like, yeah, hey, Gemstone had a solid, you could count on every month they were selling 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 copies of a $7 comic in the 2000s. Like, you've got this audience locked down. They buy that book every month. They buy the Walt Disney Comics and Stories and Uncle Scrooge every month. And then you turn around and you pissed them off. So Boom gets a license from Gemstone, because Jeppy couldn't pay his bills back then. That's a whole nother issue. So they get the license, and I was trying to be, as honest to God, I was trying to be helpful. I was like, hey, yeah, you can try to get these new Disney fans, but you got to keep the old heads happy, and they want these prestige format books. And Gemstone's been successful with that for years. You just literally have to continue doing the same thing, and then also adding to it, because Gemstone wouldn't take chances, but they had their classic audience kind of locked down, right? And I'm like, it's not hard. Just put the $7 books out, just like you've been doing. Don't rock the boat. But then if you want to go do Mickey Mouse and Elseworlds, which is what they're doing, the Mickey Mouse Elseworlds thing. I'm like, put that out in addition to your bread and butter. And they just were like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, okay, whatever. Crash and burn. I don't care. It's not my job.
Nerd says, Neon, the elusive man I've always wanted to talk to about stuff. And by the way, where's my woohoo? I ordered 7 got it yet.
she is elsewhere this morning, but I'm not as excited.
You want me to do it?
I'll do it. Woohoo!
Woo! Yeah. I need to get a little button for, like, when she's not in videos. My wife just like push a button.
You need a little soundboard. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. All right,
Dark Admiral March Hare. I would like to have seen a D&D movie based on the animated series with the ending we never got.
Ooh. They could be still trapped there right now, to this very day, trying to find a way home.
Well, they bought a Brazilian car, or they didn't buy.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah,
right. That car commercial. Yeah. So Dungeon Master pulls up in this car, and then it takes him back to the carnival. The end.
So, Neon, would you rather have another D&D movie based on the stuff we got with Chris Pine, or would you like to see a new D&D movie based on the animated stuff?
Both.
Sure.
Well, you can only have one.
Do a crossover.
Do a crossover between the two?
Do a crossover. Yeah.
They find them.
All in the same universe.
I've still never found that last set of figures of the cartoon. Like, it was broken into 2 waves. I've never found the second wave.
Yeah, I think we had a whole bunch of Bobbies and Hanks and like nobody. I think it's because nobody bought the first wave, because they didn't really. I think it's one of those things where, like, it's cool for collectors and old heads, but a lot of people, they didn't really promote the cartoon for the last couple decades. So people are like, who are these? What's with
they
the
also had
goofy
those shitty boxes with where you couldn't see the figure.
Hiding the defects. Hasbro. Yeah, it's all about saving the environment. It's like, yeah, so they don't wind up in a landfill. You know,
I always wanted to see a Sheila the Thief action figure, and it's just the blister pack, and it's all ironic because there's no figure.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They've done that with, like, Wonder Woman's Invisible Jet. Like, at STCC one year, you could get a Hot Wheel of her Invisible Jet, and it was an empty package. But behind, like, in between the cardboard and the blister where you couldn't see it, they had put, like, a little piece of metal that had a little bit of give. So when you picked it up, you could rattle it, and you could hear, like, her jet rattling around inside. It was kind of ingenious. But Sheila also played by Katie Lee, who was also Honker on Darkwing Duck. and a very, very lovely woman. Been very kind to me over the years.
Very nice. Nerd says, how long before the adventure engine is on my table?
All right, so nobody knows what he's talking about except
I
me.
do.
So, okay, so Adventure Engine, tabletop game we're working on, been developing it for a couple of years. There's a lot of stuff going on with that. It's currently being alpha tested. Basically, we're not going to bring it out until it's ready, because I don't want to just be like, hey, cash grab, buy our game. But it's pretty good. It's basically our philosophy with Adventure Engine is, if you've never played D&D before, but you've seen people play it on TV, this is what you think you're getting, not what Hasbro is actually selling. So it's a very streamlined, very fast system for basically anybody. I mean, and you can make it as they call it crunch. You can make it as crunchy with the numbers as you want to, or you can just play it lean and mean and it's just have a good time with it. And we're trying to focus on getting people together at the table to play the game and not have that barrier to entry. I mean, I don't want it to be like, baby's first RPG or anything like that, but you basically can scale it to, whatever the play style or the play level is that, your group has.
Is it only a fantasy game? Could you use it for like superheroes or spies? That's
the long game for it. So the reason we're calling it Adventure Engine is it's going to be, the default flavor is going to be fantasy, but eventually we'd like to do other, things. I mean, it's generic enough that you could do that.
I still use Villains Vigilantes from 1982. You're familiar with this?
I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Yeah. That's what my whole comic is inspired and based on. This. Like when I make cards, I use the stats on the back of the cards to make it look like the old ads and everything.
Okay, so that's cool because actually a big part of the inspiration for Adventure Engine was the old TSR Marvel game, which I loved. And that used a 2d10 system, which is what we're doing with Adventure Engine, where it's basically you got this pair of dice, that's it. Everything runs off of
this. Cool.
Yeah, so you're not going to have 40 different die. It's like it's 2d10. Everything's 2d10. Very simple.
Somebody says Star Frontiers in the comments. There's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Or use the GURPS system. Now, Neon, with the Adventure Engine, will I be able to go to non-binary prom?
If you want to. It's not going to be an official. It's not going to be an official product, but if you want to go to non-binary prom, you certainly can. You certainly can do that.
Is the lead person going to be like the Adventure Master, or what's the name we're going for?
Engineer, I think, is what we're going.
The engineer. Okay.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
So we're also going to have the option that you can trade it up. So there's a lot of randomization. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's basically like one of the biggest problems I had, and we had got hours and hours of conversation before we even started with the people that are helping us develop it. My thing was like when I was a kid, I was always stuck as the DM. It's cool to be the DM because you get to kind of play God, but I'm also like, I'm the guy that has to do all the homework throughout the week. So when we have our session on Sunday afternoon, I don't really get to play. I get to watch you guys play and you guys have fun for a couple of hours, but I just spent 10 hours. Yeah. I'm not knocking it because that was some of the best times I had, with my friends when I was a kid, but the DM was basically the teacher so I'm like, okay, so what can we do that if somebody wants to be the regular DM, that's fine, but also we could mix it up a little bit. So either somebody that's not good at being a DM can get into kind of running it, and we've got the tools to be able to help them kind of run it on the fly, randomize it, or people can switch roles. This week Joe's going to be the DM because last week I was, and that's okay, and you can pick up that ball and run with it. So that's what. Yeah, it's kind of what we're trying to do to be able to make it more fun. And also you have to be up and running within a half an hour. You crack that box open, you crack that book open. We want you playing within a half an hour, not 3 hours of generating a character or, what I'm saying? So that's kind of a sales pitch for a product that doesn't really exist.
With like a prepackaged scenario, like your world, or you can make your own and.
Yeah, so we're going to have the vanilla world, but then we're going to give you tools to add on to that. So, and we're still trying to figure out so the tariff situation kind of threw, because we were looking at doing a box set originally, kind of like the old, basic set.
Yeah.
And then now because of the tariffs, we're kind of like, well, do we just start with the books? I don't know. We're still working that out. Might be that the books come out first and then the other stuff comes out later. I'm not sure yet.
Very nice. James Hannafin, the most annoying thing I hate is when the colorist gets a character look wrong. Green Lantern Corps 8, guy's boots are white. Captain Adam's boots go from blue to red all the time. And Red Tornado's cape trim instantly takes me out of the story.
Yeah, huh? It's funny what just pulls us out of our enjoyment of our floppy. For me, Wes will tell you, and Aaron will tell you, it's bad onomatopoeia. It's badly placed sound effects. That's just like, I'm like, WTF? Come on, you're professionals. But I get that. It's a good place to be nitpicky.
I like Green Lantern Corps 8. I didn't notice his boots were the wrong color or anything. So
You know
that
what
one went
used
right
to
over my head.
You know what used to prevent that sort of thing? Editors.
Aw, shucks.
Yeah.
You mean people that read the comics and check it, not people just stay on Twitter and make fun of other people all day long?
Yeah, people that check the art as it comes in, and sign off on it, make sure that everything looks right, and make sure characters are in the right place, make sure balloons are assigned to the right people, all of that kind of stuff.
So Sparrow, as an editor, what is it that really grinds your gears that when you see it, you just can't take it? It blows your OCD away.
Oh, one of the things I can't stand is when balloons are obviously assigned to the wrong person, or where there's missing balloons. Obviously a character is saying something to another character and they're riffing off of something that isn't there. Or when in a word balloon, and you see this a lot in certain editors' books, because they're not really doing their job, but where you'll have the dialogue and then a sentence fragment from the dialogue also in there. So it's like the character's repeating themselves and it's like, how did you not catch this? I understand the grind. There's always going to be things that get missed just because of the nature of comics and how fast the production is. But, we have a lot of people in the industry right now. And I'm not going to say that they're necessarily bad because I don't know personally, but they're not being trained. Do you think Tom Brevoort, who's barely interested in his job anymore, is interested in teaching people how to properly edit a comic book? He's not even doing it anymore. He doesn't care. So you've got all these people in there that are just, running out the clock. And they're hiring people that they're just, basically like our coffee interns, and they're handing them these books and telling them to edit it. And these people have no basis, of what it is they should be looking for. They're just not getting the proper training. Just like the people that are coming in and writing these stories aren't getting any kind of training. Everybody should be getting notes. Like, this is not how you do this. This is dumb. Take this out. This is, not the character. But nobody's interested in doing that job anymore. And why would they be? Because, nobody in the industry is getting paid.
All right, Dylan, what grinds your gears, dude? Let's hear it.
I don't know if I have a specific thing, but what him talking about coloring just made me think of in the Scooby-Doo meets Batman 70s movie. There's a section where Batman is colored with flesh-colored pants, so he has no pants, just like Robin. And that's what that made me think of.
There's a Dr. Mindbender. There's a Dr. Mindbender scene in the G.I. Joe cartoon where they didn't color his purple pants, so he's just there in like his metal codpiece with bare legs. I reposted at one point and I was like, yeah, Cobra Casual Friday is getting out of control.
That's exactly how it's about. He's next to Robin, who has no pants. He's got pants, and then it cuts, and then just no pants. He just got the blue undies, and that's it.
Well, Robin was feeling self-conscious, and Batman, being a good mentor, just whipped his off because I don't know if you know this, but the Bat pants are like stripper pants. They just tear right away.
Yeah. Got that Velcro.
You got something that grinds your gears, Neon?
About
in comic books, when you see it, like, I can't believe they're continuing to make this mistake.
Actually, being on the other end of it, the biggest problem I had was because I did a lot of coloring and like pre-press work and stuff like that. We were always the last person to get the work. So everything would go through everybody else's, whatever checks and balances. And back in the day when I worked in comics, there actually were checks and balances, but a lot of times, this might explain the problem with the coloring is the colorist is usually the last one to get the work. And a lot of times the colorist is very crunched. In fact, I've done books before, and my wife will vouch for this. I'd get a book. I'd have 2 days to color the whole book. And I slept in the chair in the den. I slept for about 2 hours. So I could get up and continue working on it because it was like deadline was a deadline, but everybody else kind of took their sweet old time. Yeah. Yeah. Because you can letter the book if it's not colored, right? But you got to have the color before it goes to press. So I'm thinking what happens. you have a combination of people that aren't paying attention, but also the stuff's probably coming in at the very last minute. And then a lot of times,
were you working on a Dan Slott book there, Neon?
no. It was Goofy and Mickey underwater, if I remember correctly. That was a whole thing. It was weird. They were like fish people, and I don't even know, because I wouldn't get the lettered versions of it. So I'd be like, there were obviously room or the whatever, and it's like, so that was always fun. Like I get the stuff and I'd be like, I'm trying to make out like what is the story. Like I'm never gonna know what the actual story is until the book comes out. And in like 5 years, when I actually get a comp copy or whatever, I'll be able to finally figure out what it was about. But like, I'd get these pages. I'm like, okay, so Goofy and Mickey are in an aquarium, and there are fish people, and okay, all right. So that could be part of it. And a lot of it seems like with the floppies, just my observation is that's early access now, right? I guess the thing you can do is you can kind of make the comparison to video games, where it's like the floppy is not the final product. The final product is the trade, because they're always working for the trade. So anything that they screw up in the floppy doesn't matter. They're going to put a trade out. They'll hopefully fix some of that stuff.
Like DuckTales rightful owners.
That's a whole story. Yeah, that was
Nate Watson and I used to joke at Boom that we were going to get T-shirts that said "Fix it for the trade," because that was the attitude.
Oh wow!
You can see it though, because they don't really care. Like the guys that are buying it, bagging and boarding those books, that you're buying it for the cover, right? You're going to stick it in a bag and whatever. But the trade is what matters. You're just helping them bankroll the production cost for that trade.
Mm-hmm.
Sleeve McDakel says Miss Tessmacher is also in the new movie. She's in the cast list as well.
Ooh, hubba hubba.
There you go, another extra one.
Valerie Prime is
But Sully, she's being played by Amy Schumer, so you might want to hold that.
oh,
Tessmacher!
I'm kidding. That's not true. That's not true.
Valerie Perrin, she activated my hormones as a kid, but if you just mentioning Amy Schumer just deactivated me.
Yeah.
It's shrinkage. The water was cold.
Definitely going to be a big team. Kalichioki says Dylan and panel, everyone else think that this movie is taking beats from Superman versus the Elite animated movie, Manchester Black team, Guy Gardner's team.
That was the original rumor when all this was announced, that that's what they were building to for a future movie. So they announced they essentially the Authority was going to replace the Elite, and that was the rumor. Don't know if that's still going to happen. I saw something about like the Authority movie might not even be happening anymore.
It's on the back burner now.
Yeah, so who knows? But that was the original plan, it seems. At least that's what the rumor was. So yeah, you can definitely get those vibes. But the movie itself, Superman movie itself, I'm getting more All-Star Superman than What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, the American Way.
Yeah. Well, the Elite are just like a Authority knockoff anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, everything's on hold, like kind of pending the success of this movie.
Waiting the Superman.
Except we are getting that Supergirl movie. So it looks like Superman's tracking to do really well its opening weekend. So if it has good word of mouth, it might have legs, and it might be a blockbuster. And then we'll get Tom King's Supergirl, and then that will kill the DC universe as we know it.
And that'll be the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting nothing else.
Grand opening, grand closing.
I want it to do good. You know what I mean? Like I'm rooting for it to do good. I'm cautiously optimistic about the new Superman movie. Same thing for Fantastic Four.
It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big hit with normies. I swear. I watched that. I'm not into watching trailers because I like to be surprised when I go to the movies itself. But so I watched the trailer because it was part of the homework for today's episode. So I got all the feels. My eyes are watering up. I thought I was emotionally vacant.
You're still crying.
And I'm still up, and I'm like, maybe it was the musical cues because they're using the classic John Williams theme.
That's a huge part of it.
And it's like, it's really moving me. And I was bothered by zero things in that trailer. Nothing bothered me. And I'm looking forward to this movie. But this is going to be a huge hit with the normies because we're craving the aspirational hero once again. This is a good sign.
Sully, you confuse me so much. You will read 19 Marvel comics of your own volition, but a Superman trailer, like I only did that because of the homework. I wouldn't have watched that otherwise.
Same with the 19 copies, dude. Yeah, I mean, that's homework too. But it's like there are good books out there if you see them, if you find them, they're out there.
HH and the boys at Sigma Comics, keep it tuned to the best in the biz. Hit like and subscribe. Next weekend, it's MCM London, but please go and back Calico Morality Play on Kickstarter today. Next stretch goal is a Klaus Janson poster. Go get it. Absolutely, Mike Barron, Klaus Janson, joining up with HH German and the team at Sigma Comics for Calico Morality Play. Very, very exciting stuff live right now on Kickstarter. And definitely go check those guys out. And we cannot wait to see them in the Dallas area. It's going to be great for Fan Expo Dallas. Definitely going to all hang out. Sleep McDackle, Neon. This is off topic, but since you do have experience in Disney comics, at least, did you ever read Carl Barks' Disney Ducks books?
Yeah, I worked on some of them actually. So that's mostly what I did. Mostly, most of my Disney comics experience, duck books. I've worked on so many duck books, years and years and years of duck books. Yeah, so I'm pretty well versed in ducks from all over the world.
Were you a fan of the Carl Barks Disney Duck books?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do the job if I wasn't. Like it was mandatory. Yeah, no, I have a lot of fond memories of working on stories, and it's interesting to see how they handle the ducks. Like everybody starts at Carl Barks, but they kind of go off in different directions depending on which country it is. Like you have Egmont does ducks a certain way, and then Italy does ducks a certain way. Actually, in Italy, Mickey Mouse I think is bigger, but yeah, it's really cool to see sort of the I guess the common ancestor of all the Disney comics all over the world being Carl Barks, and then the different iterations. Yeah.
Very nice. Calb says, Neon, I sent you those clips in your DMs on the Twitter spheres.
Okay, we're talking about D&D, right? Not anything weird.
Yeah, the D&D.
Like feet or
well,
something.
I don't know what's the D and the D stand for.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Dixon
Federico De La Casa, I have all the D20 modern books where you can play all the genre of fiction beside fantasy. You closed just before release of the superhero book. Damn. I'm assuming this is RPG stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like silence information is like
yeah, you guys are the RPG. I would play D&D if I could. There's nobody that wants to play here. I've thought about getting the DC deck building game maybe and playing that with my boys, but I'm all for it. But there ain't nobody here that does it.
Don't play modern D&D. If you're gonna do that, go with the OSR, which is old school Renaissance, or even Castle and Crusades is really good. It captures more of the feel of classic D&D, because D&D is not D&D, not the way it used to be.
The D20 books, they're just using like a basic system, using a die, 20 dice, so that you can play any genre. That's it's made for like, okay, I like science fiction, but I don't want to buy this, and then I want to switch over to this. Now I got to buy a whole other set. You could buy this, but
you can buy dinosaurs or dragons, or you can do a Western.
This is $5 on Fantasy Games Unlimited, still available right now, and I use it for D&D. I use it for science fiction. I use it for, me and my friends play pirates. Because what matters is, do you have a good DM who could adapt? Really?
What's it called again, John?
This is called Villains and Vigilantes.
Ooh, have you scanned every one of these and offered it up as a pirate chest to the next generation?
For $5, guys, just go to Fantasy Games Unlimited. $5. It's cheaper than the printer paper that you buy to download it on.
Very nice. And then Nerd says, have you all seen Purchase AI comic story vids? I have not. I've been very, very busy for like 2 months.
I have. And then Ella Warren on Twitter has been sending me ones that she's been doing. They're both having a lot of fun with it. It's kind of wacky, but you listen to some of Purchase vids, and you definitely see how we're going to be getting AI stories if we aren't already, because some of the concepts that the AI is coming up with, it's rough, but like if you have a writer that then goes in and polishes it, you can see some of those stories working that Purchase has been doing. Some of them are just batshit insane, but it's like there's something there, and it's really kind of scary, just the way that how quickly AI is moving. And
who would have thought that AI is threatening to replace doctors? People getting diagnostics tests done by AI. You know what I mean? Like if AI can infiltrate the medical field, what good do comic book people have?
Well,
medical field isn't creative. It's like that's a diagnostic. these are the symptoms, these are what I see, I can diagnose this. Creative is different. Like, it's harder to be creative. In fact, they say it's like 10 times more energy for an AI to do something creative than do something diagnostic.
Okay. So we comic book people should get paid 10 times more than doctors. You heard it here on
there you go.
Comics.
No, it costs that much more energy for an AI to do something creative as opposed to.
Well, it certainly takes more energy from me to come up with something creative than to just, go down a list.
It takes a bagel and a glass of orange juice in your case.
Right? It takes a whole jar of coffee.
I watched Star Trek, so I knew that AI was going to replace doctors.
That's right.
It's all over the Trek. Are you a Trekkie, Neon? You seem like a
yeah,
Trekkie.
yeah, somewhat. Yeah. Not the new stuff. I don't really care for that. I don't care for the Paramount Plus stuff.
Nobody does.
But Next Gen's one of my all-time favorite shows. Top 3.
I love DSN or DSN.
Yeah.
Picard season 3 is worth it. I heard from Robert Meyer Burnett. I trusted him. I got a copy of it used from Blu-ray, and I'm like, okay, it's all Easter eggs. It's all member berries. It's one long episode, but it's pretty fun. So
yeah, I actually rage quit. Well, no, I didn't. Okay, so I rage quitted Picard season 1 after like 2 episodes because I'm like, I can already tell this show's gonna make me mad, and I don't want to put myself through that. Like Next Gen is one of my favorite shows ever. I don't want to taint the memory of it, so I'm not even gonna watch this. It took me forever to come around to watch season 3, and it's like if you'd done this right out of the gate, there wouldn't have been any complaints. But
Bill Lindsay says, for RPG recommendations, Savage Worlds is my favorite system. It has companion books, including superheroes, to do different settings. Tons of fun.
Yep, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I dated her. She was fun. Yeah, but
first name Savage, last name Worlds.
It sounds
Very
like a
nice.
porn star, Sully.
Exactly.
Tons of fun.
I'll check it out. I'm totally into doing RPG stuff with my boys. They're getting to that age. My oldest is now 9 years old, where we can have fun and stuff together. But I'll definitely figure it out eventually.
Do you want to help us test? Do you want to help us test Adventure Engine? You got kids.
I would love to.
Okay, we'll have to talk about that because we're looking for some other groups to help us test, especially with kids, because it's like, okay, we got lots of middle-aged men. Can we get some kids in here and see what they think?
I've got a 9. I'll be a 10, a 6, and a 4-year-old very soon. They all have birthdays.
And it's not dependent on screen time. This is just pen and paper stuff, right?
Yeah.
See, that's great. I mean, if you can get kids really interested in something away from the little black mirrors everywhere, there could be hope for us.
And the nerd says Firefly is the GOAT. Is he talking about the show, or is he talking about some RPG engine?
He's talking about G.I. Joe. Firefly is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think we're talking the
Is
show.
that what it is?
There's a
I
Firefly
like the show a
board
lot.
game that
Because
is.
we're talking about Star Trek, so I
Yeah,
think we're
Firefly's
talking-
Yeah, show was Firefly was a great show.
I think
and
the
that
movie's
was
just a little bit better. But they're
Oh
both-
yeah, I mean I agree, but
fantastic.
like you have to I saw the movie before I saw the show, and I was not
me
lost.
too. Yeah, exactly.
Did anybody play the Firefly board game? It is phenomenal. It is so much fun. You could put 3 boards down and expand it as big as you want and fly all over the verse, as they call it. Just doing adventures. It's a lot of fun. It's like playing a season of Firefly, or the season of Firefly.
The season.
Yeah, it's 5
Yeah.
Netflix seasons.
That's
I'd
true.
love some
That's
more.
true. And they do it all at once, and then they say like, "Oh, She-Ra's getting renewed for a 3rd season," and you're
Yeah.
like, you just cut it into 3. It was
Yeah.
one production.
Very nice. I guess we could fully hit the Superman trailer. It appears that the reception has been overwhelmingly positive to this. Neon, you are a man of the people. You've got an enormous audience. I imagine you've been seeing the feedback on the Superman trailer. What is the pulse of the people?
Are people or normies? It depends.
We're
That's-
not
I mean, a lot of our people are normies, but if you're talking like average people that don't follow comic book movie stuff or nerd stuff, I would say it's overwhelmingly positive. I think I like it. My wife's worried that crypto's going to get it. Like we're not going to take out one of the Kents. We're going to take out crypto. I hope to God that does not happen. I actually liked it. I know I'm gonna get crap from people for saying that. I did get crap for people because we did a compare, because Ironheart and Superman came out at the same time, so we did both of them. Superman, I did not really have a strong opinion on until I saw that second trailer, the new trailer. And I'm like, okay, I have to see this movie now. Before I was on the fence, I was kind of like, maybe. I mean, it looks very comic booky, which is a good thing. I mean, I want us to get away from the grim, dark, realistic superheroes, because like we said, superheroes just by their very nature not realistic. So let's just lean into it, and I like that, and I like the Superman robots, and I like the whole thing with that. But I saw that trailer, and I'm like, yeah, I really want to see this movie. Like, I really want to see this movie. The only concern I have about it is there are a lot of characters, and I'm getting like CW vibes from it. Like, oh my God, this is gonna be like the Arrowverse. We're just gonna shoehorn all these characters in. I'm hoping that James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy, he was good at managing large groups of characters, not having you feel overwhelmed. And I'm hoping maybe all these other characters are just kind of, peppered in throughout the movie, and they're just showing you all these scenes because they're like, we're gonna have all these cool characters, and look, Guy Gardner, you like him, right? But overall, the vibe I'm getting is this is going to be that optimistic, palate cleansing movie that I think we need to get people into superheroes again. I don't think there's superhero fatigue. I think people are just tired of everything that we've been getting.
There's Marvel humor fatigue. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
Marvel humor.
Yeah.
My wife saw Crypto, and she looks at me. She goes, "Are we going to see this?"
Yeah.
She got excited. My wife is a normie. You know what I mean? She saw the dog with the cape on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're taking the best of the Silver Age, and I think they're taking the best of the Bronze Age. I'm cautiously optimistic because I'm not a normie, and we are notoriously nitpickers, and I know that. That's on me. But
there's a toy set out, like the lesser figures, not the higher like designed McFarlane figures, but like the cheaper figures. But there's a whole like LexCorp set where Lex is in his armor. So I don't know if we get that in the movie, but there's also a couple of little creatures in little containers, and one of them is Streaky the Super Cat. So I don't know if we're getting that in the movie, but it's definitely part of the toy line.
Okay, that's cool.
I don't know. I want it to be good. I think comic book movies need it to be good. I think the Superman movie needs to be good more than the Fantastic Four movie needs to be good. Like,
I think the Fantastic Four movie will benefit if the Superman movie is good.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely. I the main characters, the Jimmy Olsen guy looks like he stepped out of the comics, so that's good. I don't know. I find the woman who plays Lois Lane perfect casting. Lex Luthor, I think he is a good actor, man. I'm excited for him. And my only thing is the guy who plays Superman. I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He seems like a good guy, but again, like Dylan said, once he's in the uniform, I just wish this uniform design was a little bit more Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, maybe we get a new design at the end. You know how they like to do that. Guy steps out in the new outfit,
and people are saying, "Oh, like social media turns against Superman, stuff like that." You don't think Lex Luthor would do that? That is such a Lex Luthor plot.
It was just, if it's a major plot, I think it's a problem. If it's a minor detail, then I think it's fine. And I'm even fine with like, a bunch of mutated space monkeys being the ones that are typing out the stuff, because, this is a very Silver Age kind of Superman. And that's something that would have happened. So I don't have a huge problem with it as long as it's not a focal point of the movie.
Do you think his head will mutate into a gigantic ant head?
Yeah, well, he'll get the big brain cranium so that he looks like me. Like he gets he'll get that going. And
my favorite, the lion head.
The lion head, yeah, the Silver Age man. It's like, hey, what do we do this month? I don't know. Lois Lane gets superpowers. Oh, okay. How's that going to happen? She crashes her car into a magic.
Yeah, do you think Jimmy Olsen will start stretching?
Right?
Yeah, the Turtle Jimmy, or
yeah, Turtle Boy.
That'd be interesting.
I think it's time for as a kid, I hated Silver Age DC. I don't know how you guys feel, but I just avoided Silver Age DC like the plague. And now as an adult, I'm buying more and more Silver Age DC. It's just, the world is kind of crazy right now, and I do enjoy like the wholesome, whimsical fun of because at Silver Age DC, Silver Age Marvel, it was the Fantastic Four bickering and I loved all that realism. And now I don't want to see a husband and wife fighting anymore. I kind of want to see a guy turn into a gigantic bug and save Jupiter. You know,
those 60s Fantastic Four though, man, you basically had moments where it's like Reed was telling Sue, yeah, it's okay, Sue, you're just a woman with a very little brain, a brain much smaller than ours. It's science, like Ron Burgundy. There was some of that back there, so it is kind of funny to go back and read it. As a kid, I thought the Silver Age was silly, but I still liked it. Like when I would read the Silver Age book, I'd be like, this is dumb, but I had a good time with it because I grew up reading. I first got into comics reading Archie, so
right.
it seemed like that. It was kind of like on the same level. But what I was really into was the comics that took themselves more seriously. Not that there wasn't a sense of fun, but just like there were actual stakes and drama.
The way I looked at it, there was like a hierarchy. Like you started out reading Harvey and Archie and stuff like that. Then you moved to DC, and then you graduated to Marvel. That's the way I thought of it back when I was in 6th and 7th grade. Bouncing.
I went Archie and Sugar and Spike because those were books that were given to me, to G.I. Joe, to Marvel, and then to DC. That was like my path.
Yeah.
You don't think Superman giving Lois Lane a transponder just in case she's ever in trouble, and her using it because she broke her shoe was wild stuff in the Silver Age share?
Superman, my shoe is broken. My heel. I'm gonna walk all uneven. Have you ever seen when they do the parody, like if DC published Spider-Man in the Silver Age, and it's like, I want to swing to help, swing over there and help those people, but I'm too fat.
My favorite is when they took away Wonder Woman's powers, and right on the cover it says, "This is the woman's lib issue," and then Wonder Woman's tied to a chair and can't get out. It's just like, it's like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
So as the world's biggest Superman fan, or at least maybe the Zoomer's biggest Superman fan, I'm assuming that you were definitely into the trailer. Was there anything that you noticed still and you were like, wasn't expecting that?
I don't know if there was anything that I didn't expect, but yeah, I like the trailer. I really like seeing more of the Kents in this. I thought the Kents were great. A little bit we got with Pa Kent being like, it's your actions of what you do that defines who you are as a person. That was great. I love Ma Kent being like, I'll clean your boots for you. I'll get your suit. That was great.
Yeah.
I also love that they look like normal farmers. They look like normal people. They don't look like models or actors. They look like normal people. That's great. So I'm excited for the Kents. We've already talked about, but Nicholas Hoult as Lex, I think, is great casting. We finally got a young Lex. That's one of my biggest peeves with Superman movies is every single one. They're like, Lex has to be 20 years older than Superman. It's not how it is in the comics. It's stupid. It ruins the dynamic. I'm happy that we got a Lex that's actually close in age to Superman. I think that's great. And he looks great. I love how just like he's got that smug look on his face.
Yes.
It's like his whole goal is to piss off Superman every time he's drinking his coffee in his face. Looks great. I'm excited for that.
He's a menacing Lex Luthor. Absolutely right.
Yeah. And it looks good. Just my only gripes right now are I hate that I've said this from the beginning because we've known it for a while now, that Lois already knows that Superman and Clark are the same person. That ruins a lot of potentials for stories. And it also makes Lois seem really shallow because it's going to do the whole she's way more into Superman than Clark thing. I don't care for that. I'm not a big fan of that. I like how in the comics how she didn't have a ring on her finger till she knew that, like when she only knew Clark, she didn't know that Clark and Superman were the same. So I think that's
she just thought he was really, really good in bed.
But yeah, I think that ruins a lot of things. And then also the fact that there's a lot of characters in this and could definitely be overstuffed. But we'll see.
A lot of characters is a red flag. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
That's like the Guardians of the Galaxy thing. I felt like, Guardians of the Galaxy was a miss with me. It was like 10 minutes in. I was like, this is an Earthsat's remake of Boogie Nights. But here's 7 different characters, and at least 2 of them are going to really hit with you. And so that's like that there too is the James Gunn method that I feel.
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy was a group book, so I accept a group, but this is Superman. This is not Superman and Friends or Superman in the Justice League or, they did the same thing with the Green Lantern movie. They introduced 3 villains and the whole Green Lantern Corps. They just put too much. That the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie should have been 3 movies. It was 3 movies.
Well, the big problem with the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie is that
it sucked.
So it sucked, but they front load you, the audience member, with all of the information, and then you spend half the movie waiting for the main character to catch up to what you already know, because they didn't have confidence in their ability to tell the story in a way that would be organic. The first movie should have been Hal gets the ring, Sinestro comes for him, They go to Oa. Sinestro is teaching him the ropes. It's like a buddy cop movie. And then in the second one, you kind of keep that dynamic. You expand the stakes out a little bit, but Sinestro is becoming more and they're butting up against the Guardians, and Sinestro's getting more and more dissatisfied. And then your third movie is Sinestro's the bad guy. You don't just have him go, "Oh, I found a yellow ring" at the end of the first movie and put it on in the post-credits.
The first movie should have been him on Earth, dealing with Hector Hammond, and then Sinestro showing up to teach. Absolutely. The second movie should have been, now we meet the core, and the third movie is it all goes to hell kind of thing.
I don't know. Hector Hammond was pretty awful in that movie.
Yeah, he did. It was not as bad as Parallax, but still pretty awful.
Parallax was Galactus, but yellow, basically. That Green Lantern movie is awful.
So I'm thinking the reason they're doing it the way they're doing it is we've seen the Superman origin so many times. Everybody knows it. It's kind of, I mean, I understand they're throwing us into it, but I'm also like, this is kind of like a comic book, right? You're gonna get into the story, and we got a lot of crossovers, and we got other characters from the universe, and it might be overwhelming at first, but kind of I think it's the method they're taking with this is with the MCU with Spider-Man. Like, we didn't need to see his origin again. We've seen it twice already, 3 times if you count the TV show, 4 times if you count the shows, the cartoon, all that. Everybody knows Peter Parker got bitten by a spider. Now he's Spider-Man. So let's just go with it. And I think it's kind of here. Like, everybody knows Clark Kent, Superman, even Lois. Let's just run with it. And
I don't need to see Batman's parents get shot in the alley.
Right.
I don't need to see those damn pearls again.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah. Definitely got enough origin stories. But we shall see on the Superman thing, but it definitely feels like the normies have bought in full step. But
yeah,
you know what's weird? What I've noticed, Dylan, is like a lot of people are saying like James Gunn is just borrowing all this stuff from Zack Snyder by showing like 4 pictures that are similar from the Zack Snyder Superman to this one. It's like, that's classic Superman iconography. He's flying with somebody in his arms. He's protecting somebody with his cape.
Well, see, the funny thing about that is that Snyder fans don't just do that with this movie. They do that with every movie. If you see every single movie, if someone's standing in a similar way that they do in a Snyder movie, they say Snyder's the blueprint and then post a screenshot. And then most of the time they get just completely flamed because someone will post 48 other screenshots from 48 other movies and be like, well, these were all before Snyder was even directing. So yeah,
who's the borrower? Like, you want to talk about somebody who borrows, it's Snyder.
Yeah,
like,
that's just
grabbing so much. Yeah, it's like whatever, like, get over it. But the Snyder Bros, man, they just like I posted that thing the other day where that guy's like, oh, you just the world isn't intellectual enough to understand Zack Snyder's Batman versus Superman. And I was just like, oh my god, it has themes, bro.
You're really gonna love Andor then, you.
What are you talking crap on Andor?
I'm not. I'm just the whole fandom mindset of like, oh, you're not enlightened enough. You don't have enough media literacy to comprehend the greatness that Snyder Bros enjoy, or Andor fans.
It's like when my dad tried to tell me my dad tried to tell me a pirate joke, and it was it ended with the punchline. The pirate's got a steering wheel in his pants. He's got a steering wheel in his pants, and it ends with the punchline. It's driving me nuts. And I just sat there like stone faced after he said it, and he goes, you don't get it. And I was like, yes, your joke about the pirate's testicles was too sophisticated for me.
I do love that when somebody, and I just like, I didn't like that movie. Like, well, you didn't understand it. No, I'm a 57-year-old man. I'm a construction worker. I build buildings. I used to be a school teacher. I have a hobby. I understood it. It was just a bad movie. Sometimes it's just a bad movie. We're
not talking Stalker by Tarkovsky here. We're talking
about Zack Snyder.
We're talking Man of Steel.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't understand the remake of Night of the Living Dead and all the subtle nuances.
Hey! Sucker Punch had themes. It was about mental health.
And Rebel Moon got cut and axed. Yeah. How about that?
I never saw Sucker Punch. Is it worth watching? The trailer is amazing, and I've never seen it.
So, Neon, we know that Superman's not going to be alone. It's coming out around the exact same time as Jurassic World Rebirth, as well as Fantastic Four. Do you think they made a mistake packing all these movies together?
Well, I mean, look, we're kind of eating good if they're good, right? I mean, there have been some summers. I remember when I was a kid, I was thinking back, I want to say it was like 1990 or 91. We had like 2 or 3 years where we didn't have any summer blockbusters. It was like, I think The Rocketeer was like the big movie for
Yes,
this.
I remember that.
I like The Rocketeer.
That's a
I
good
do.
movie.
It's a good movie, but it wasn't like after Batman '89. It was like, wait, this is it. This is what we get this year. And so now I think we're just kind of, I think in some ways, I mean, yeah, even though a lot of these movies aren't, maybe they're not that great, they're kind of shitty, they're kind of mid, but we're getting like, I couldn't have imagined in 1990 as a kid who loved comic books getting this many comic book movies in a year. Like it's insane. And half the characters that they're doing movies of, they, you know, they're inconceivable that we would have gotten movies of these characters. So, I mean, I think they're just kind of they're trying to get them into the theaters when they think they can get them into the theaters. Right. I think there's a log jam of projects, probably from the strikes and from the, COVID, even a lot of like Ironheart. Like, when did they greenlight that? Like 12 years ago or something. It's ridiculous. They're just trying to flush it out.
Do you guys still like going to the movies? I know a lot of people said that they'll wait because they don't like going to the theater. My wife and I, we'd go to the movies every Saturday night if we could, but there's just fortunately nothing worth it. So I'm kind of looking forward to it because I'll go see Superman. I'll go see the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
I'll go see all because I want to. Me and my wife, it's granted we don't have kids, so I understand. But we'll get the popcorn, then we'll go out to dinner, and then we'll talk about it. It's
$80. You got your kids though.
I know. That's why I had to give the caveat that I don't have children. I understand. I'm a child myself, and I can barely take care of myself, so I understand.
I'll probably get out to the theater for all three. I mean, I'll go to the matinee for Jurassic World because those last three movies sucked and they just got increasingly worse.
Yeah, I'm not
but I'll go pay a matinee price to see some dinosaurs on the screen, and I like looking at Scarlett Johansson, and I think she's an entertaining actress. I'm less interested because of the big retard Rex that they've got at the end of it. It's like, what's actually scary? Legit dinosaurs. You don't have to keep building a genetic monstrosity.
Bella Ramsey is playing the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
It's funny. I sent the Distortus Rex to our group, the Pop My Culture group chat with just the line, "I'm going to be a dad." And but I'll go see that. I'll pay to see Superman at I'll probably pay full price for that because I'll want to go at night. And Fantastic Four, I'll pay for a different movie and then go in and watch just to see Galactus. But I don't want to pay for the Fantastic Four because I don't want to encourage studios to keep employing Pedro Pascal.
Oh my god!
I'm more excited about Fantastic Four than I am Superman, though. I think it looks.
That's fine. If you can be wrong, Wes. You've been wrong before.
I'm wrong all the time.
I was.
As much as I can't stand Pedro, Fantastic Four is hands down my favorite comic book of all time. It's like I'm very protective of it, and I feel like an abused wife. Like, maybe the next time will be good.
Yeah.
Go watch the first Incredibles movie. It's the closest you're ever going to get.
Yes, that is the best Fantastic Four movie. Absolutely. Pedro Pascal is so badly miscast that people aren't talking about how bad. What's her name? Why can't I think of Vanessa Kirby? She is awful as the Invisible Woman.
She's Sue Storm.
She is not good.
No.
I thought that the woman from Vikings, who, the blonde woman from that show, she would have been the perfect Sue Storm.
Well, at least you're getting a more sensitive Johnny that cares about people's feelings.
Oh my God. I like that guy in Stranger Things. He stole my heart in Stranger Things, but he's not Johnny Storm. And I know it's weird to say, but the guy who plays the Thing, it doesn't matter what he looks like because he's going to be CGI, but his voice is off.
There needs to be some gravel to it. Yeah, it's a little too gentle. I think that the Thing is what's going to sell this movie to kids, because when the trailer came up, when I saw Thunderbolts, the kids that were in the theater were like, the Thing, you could hear them
excited.
It's
always been the most popular. There's a reason
so
he had his own solo series for so long. Kids like monstrous characters. And the fact that he's monstrous but kind and gentle is everybody loves Sully from Monsters Inc.
Everybody loves Sully here on the chat. Here on the panel.
Come on, Neon, set these guys straight. I cannot be the only one that thinks the Fantastic Four trailer looks better than Superman.
You know what? I was actually excited for Fantastic Four. I still kind of sort of am, but that second trailer, the surfer, that and the fact that it seemed like
It'll be there for 2 minutes.
It doesn't matter.
She looks like, look, okay, you can do the gender swap surfer, that's fine, but she doesn't look good. She got hair, she got ears.
You
She
should
got
just
like
made it made her
mascara.
Nova
I
at
don't
that
know.
point.
She's just
The thing looks amazing, and Herbie the
looks
robot
great.
looks great.
Make her Nova. Why is she the surfer?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
because
yeah.
some Disney executive liked her in Ozark. Whatever. I like all kinds of performances from different actors. It doesn't mean that I just cram them into roles where they don't belong. You know, you like her so much, make her Alicia. There you go. Now
Yeah.
she can be in the movies, you know, and it makes sense.
I was excited about. I'm a sucker for anything retro futuristic. I love retro.
Yes, I love that. Yes,
I love the look of it. I think
Yeah.
and after watching the second trailer, I'm like, was I so hopeful for the Fantastic Four movie because of that look? Because I am a sucker. Like I like
Yep.
the first half of Tomorrowland, and Tomorrowland wasn't a very good movie, but the first half was pretty good. So I'm like, I might have been enamored with the look of it, and I want it to be really good. I don't know. Pedro Pascal was noticeably quiet, which I think was kind of weird. It seems like it's going to be the Sue Storm and Friends movie. It's a Sue Storm movie, and
it's called First Steps. She's gonna have a baby, and the baby's gonna save the day.
It's weird that they're
It's not
going with
gonna
the
be
baby
Franklin.
right out of the first movie she's pregnant.
No,
It's
the
weird
baby's
that
gonna
they're
be
doing that.
Valeria. I guarantee.
that's what I'm
Oh,
thinking too. Because I'm like, they're going all in female Silver Surfer, Sue Storm and Friends, and it's not going to be Franklin. Or
And-
she miscarries Franklin, and then we have the so or something, because it just there's something they're hiding.
I just think the tone looks perfect.
The look of it, the tone. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
Movie, and to just absorb the sets and the costumes and even the music. If you could block out the faces of the four actors, it's perfect. I just think all four of them are miscast.
Because with the Fantastic Four, right, it very much is a product of its time, right? Classic Fantastic Four. So the set in the 60s, I thought was a brilliant move. I thought that was great. And I said again, I love that look. I've been talking about Fly Me to the Moon, which is on Apple. A lot of people slept on that movie because they thought it was like a rom-com, but it's kind of sort of, but not really. It's actually about them faking the moon landing. And it's really cool because it looks like every frame of that movie looks like it was pulled out of Life magazine. I love that look. I don't know. I mean, I'm still going to go see it. I have more hope for that than I do with Doomsday. But if Fantastic Four is not that good, what's the point of Doomsday, right?
They're saying that it's
Well,
been confirmed that the baby is Franklin Richards because there's a pop vinyl coming out with it.
That's how you know a pop vinyl of Franklin Richards.
That's how you know what's going on.
This is set in a different dimension, and then they're gonna fight Galactus and then come back into our dimension. So to me, I don't care. You know what I mean? If it already the movie kind of reduces the stakes. Oh, it's just a multiverse thing that doesn't.
Yeah, they showed up in the end of Thunderbolts, apparently.
Yeah, this universe is going to be destroyed. So, like, why am I invested in
it? Galactus.
Like to me,
or by Doom, they'll beat Galactus, but then Doom will destroy it, and that'll set up Doomsday because they've got one movie to set up Doomsday. That's how, like,
that's
slapdash.
Yeah,
all of this is.
It just drives me nuts because this movie kind of writes itself. You set the Fantastic Four in 1962. You have the retro futurism stuff because they already hinted that there were superheroes because the original Ant-Man and the original Wasp were so they go off and they fly off to fight Galactus, but they're at relativistic speeds. And then when they come back, it's now. And that's why they haven't been mentioned. That's why they weren't there. That's why they weren't around. And now you have 60s characters in the modern world. You could set up some drama with that, some humor with that, and they could come back and save the day because everybody thought they were dead. And where do they land when the ship comes back around? It lands in Latvia, and Dr. Doom just goes to capture this ship. It writes itself. Why are they doing this multi-dimensional stuff that just makes me not care about the stakes?
Yeah.
What's saying,
Dylan? Saga.
I want to hear from Dylan. I want to hear from the youth.
The trailer's good. I personally never cared about Fantastic Four at all. I don't get the gripe about Vanessa Kirby as far as looks go. I don't think she looks off as Sue Storm. Acting wise, I get it because it sounds like she's trying so hard to be like, I'm not British. Like that, I get that. But as far as looks, I don't think she looks off as Sue Storm at all. I don't understand that complaint. But yeah,
I'm fine. I'm generally fine with her. She's the casting that I'm the most fine with.
Yeah, but I don't really care.
All right, Keneon. I think you said you had to start bouncing out of here.
I do. I really. I do. I got to go. I got things to do, but I
Oh,
really, really, really appreciate it.
Yay.
Well, thanks for joining us. Do you have any comic books that you want to recommend? I know you've got some comics of your own that maybe you want to tell people about.
Oh wait, am I supposed to be pimping our own
You
stuff?
can pimp.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You should definitely do that.
We're
Always
actually
be
gonna be,
pimping.
we're gonna be doing the reprint of the Crimson Ren book because
Mhm.
it sold out pretty quickly. So that's going to be probably within a month or so. We're trying to get our ducks in a row for publishing going forward. We didn't have time to talk about Diamond because we were actually going to do the whole Diamond thing. That went poof. So you guys can talk about Diamond. So we're trying to figure out a path forward. But mostly I'm just reading Energon Universe. That's about the only thing that consistently doesn't disappoint. I don't have any interest in Marvel and DC. I was reading Ultimate Spider-Man for a while. Very easy, and I think we talked about this before we started recording, but it's very easy to get these characters right. It's very easy to course correct comics. Just for some reason, the people in charge refuse to do it. And Energon is proof that you can do it. Ultimate Spider-Man is proof that you can do it. You just have to give people what they want and put somebody in charge that cares, right? So,
Absolutely.
Tom Brevoort says, F you, that's why.
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Man.
90s X-Men. That's all you got to do. But not actually 90s X, but go back to what works. And the X-Men would sell over 100,000 a month. Easy.
But then the 12 people that like Krakoa are going to yell at us on Twitter. We can't do that.
It's like when the IT guy comes and fixes your computer. He resets it to the last known good. Do the same thing.
Last good
Yeah.
save, yeah.
Okay, so what year are we going back? Oh my God,
We're going back to
1994.
1994.
1994. When did X-Men sell? Oh my God. Okay. But it's actually very easy to get things right. I think at this point in time, there are good comics out there.
Yes.
They're not consistently as good as they used to be, and that's not an old man thing. That's objectively, they're again, you're talking 19 Marvel comics, and 3 of them were passable. It used to be the other way around. It was like a bad comic would stick out like a sore thumb. But here we are. So yeah, it's a choice. I think at this point, it's a choice. It's a choice that the people in charge, like Aaron was saying, don't. I think a lot of them are asleep at the wheel. They don't care. I don't know what the deal is, but basically it stops when you stop paying for it. So if you want good stuff, buy the good stuff, find the good stuff, buy that, support that. Don't buy the bad stuff, and they'll eventually stop making it because they can't afford to.
Exactly.
And Neon, you're doing more streaming these days. Is there a specific time when you're doing this every week, or you just when you have the time?
Still trying to figure this out. I was gonna shoot for like Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings because we have to work around. We have other businesses, so I have to kind of work around that. Geeky and I are eventually going to do streams. We actually haven't done live streams regularly in like 5 years. People are like, "You guys are always on there for the super chats." I'm like, bitch, we haven't been on here in like 5 years. What are you talking about? Last stream, I was checking, like last stream I did in the main, because we stream on the gaming channel. I stream with the kids sometimes. We do gameplay, and I was doing news and stuff over there. But like last time we streamed on the main channel was like freaking 8 months ago or something like that. And it was like a toy show. Yeah, I was just taking people around the toy show and showing them stuff. So I mean, I'm gonna say probably three times a week. I think we'll see what happens. Nobody shows up, and I'd just be like, yeah, I'm just wasting my breath.
I don't think you'll have that problem, dude.
Yeah.
Neon, I
People
got
love
one
Neon.
final question for you, please.
Sure.
Cyclonus, Bombshell or Skywarp?
Skywarp.
Yes.
The reason because he's very loyal to Galvatron.
True. Yeah.
And the Insecticons they're in it for themselves, right? So I think Skywarp.
I agree. Cool. Thank you, man.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Very
Well,
nice.
very nice meeting all you guys. I really appreciate it. Enjoy
See you,
your
brother.
nerd chat.
Later,
You
Neon.
will.
See you.
Later, dude. Next up, we've got Garfield's Bizarre Adventure. Seeing Superman being helped by the crowd was pretty good. The main issue is that there's too many characters in the Superman movie. We'll see.
Yep, definitely getting Raimi Spider-Man vibes. It's always a good thing. Seeing him interacting with civilians and saving people looks good.
It's a nice juxtaposition too to the crowd like throwing stuff at him, is when you see the guy helping him up, and it's like, yeah.
It's also cool that like not the entire crowd helps him. It's just one guy. I like that too. Like everyone else comes and then one guy takes the lead.
Everybody else is on their phones. It's
Yeah.
like there's so many shots of people on their phones because that's the time that we live in now, unfortunately.
I hope that guy says that is one bad outfit.
Can you imagine trying to lift up Superman though? Like with that density, like it'd be impossible, dude.
You know, I wish that the Macho Man was still alive so he could help.
That's
he
who you
could
needed.
play Bonesaw, and he
circle.
could help Superman up, and then he could be like, "Your
Superman
costume's
calls him
really
Dad, too.
terrible. Yeah, your costume's really terrible. My boyfriend, he designs all my stuff. He could do something for you. Oh yeah, oh yeah."
Koichi says, wish Pa Kent was more well kempt. Looks like a bum, and then Pa Kent should embody the 1950s Sunday churchman.
He looks like a
He's
farmer.
he's just old and overweight. He doesn't look homeless.
And that guy's
or
a good
nothing.
actor.
Yeah, I like him.
I don't think you guys grew up around farms.
Yeah.
I grew up in farmland. Like my entire backyard was a farm. And, there are a couple of guys that were pretty big and maybe didn't take care of themselves. But for the most part, those guys are in pretty relatively good shape.
He's been plowing for, it's like he's old, he's broken down, he's put some weight on because his back hurts. He can't do all the stuff anymore. He had a son who was doing it for him because he hurt his back. Come on, that guy's a good actor. Remember him in Constantine? Remember in Constantine where he can't, like he's trying to drink and it's just not happening for him.
Yeah.
Like those.
And like I said, I grew up in a little farm town. The farmers themselves never lived in double wides, which apparently like Mom, Pa Ken are going to be in a double wide. Farmers normally live in like nice houses, and then the farm workers live in trailers. It got a little backwards in my opinion.
Well, the Kents are
I don't think it's a big deal.
the Kents are of the people. They're not going to live higher on the hog than the workers that work their farm.
His dad probably made the fucking house. What are you gonna do? Let the other people live there?
They're old. They've downsized. They don't need a big house. Come on, you're gonna fall down the stairs. They don't need that much. They're simple people.
Yeah.
They should have got the dude from Dukes of Hazzard to come back and play Pa Kent. He was great.
John Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got.
And they should have got Tom Wopat to play Ma
He
Kent.
got sucked up into a tornado. He's gone.
Tom Wopat just in a dress with a wig.
That
Clark, let me clean your boots for you.
But what he was saying did feel very Pa Kent. Well, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, he didn't say
Definitely
maybe let your classmates die.
Yeah,
At least he didn't say that.
Let those children die, Clark, because otherwise we might be inconvenienced.
Wraith X7. My problem with the original Guardians of the Galaxy film is that it was basically Ice Pirates crossed with Farscape. I love Ice Pirates. I don't see how that would be a problem.
No.
And then Sully is the first person I've ever met that didn't like the original Guardians of the Galaxy. That was the weirdest opinion you've ever had.
I love Boogie Nights. I love that movie. And it's just like, oh, look, it's the superhero pastiche of Boogie Nights. I've already seen
Yeah, because like at the end when Star-Lord takes
like
out his giant dong. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It's exactly like Boogie Nights. I remember the first Guardians came out during in the same year that Man of Steel came out. And I remember sitting in the theater after seeing Man of Steel. Or year after. I remember sitting in the theater pissed off because I was like, this little thieving thug raccoon is doing more to save innocent people than Superman did in Man of Steel.
I was waiting for Mantis to put on those roller skates.
Well, she wasn't
She's not there until the second movie, isn't she?
I'm kidding.
But Dylan, even you, a DC head, like Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, I thought the first one was good. Didn't care for the second one. I thought the third one was great. I love the third one.
So I thought the first one was great. The second one was a real big downer, and I thought the third one was pretty darn good as well.
I liked them. I thought they did a good job with, and to me, the Guardians of the Galaxy proves that you don't have to have A-list characters. Literally, nobody knew who Groot was or Drax outside of comics. And even comic fans, Drax was a minor character. Groot was a minor character, and they took these characters, and now your grandmother knows them. My wife buys a little dancing Groot toy in a pot, you know what I mean? So like that drives me nuts when like I say, Marvel, you need a good strong woman hero. Take Valkyrie, not the one that played in the Thor movie, but the blonde Brunhilde, and make her Marvel's Wonder Woman. They're like, no, nobody knows who she is. Dude, nobody knew who John Wick was the day before John Wick came out.
Well, now they're using characters that nobody knows who they are and that nobody who knew them in comics liked them. So, the three horsewomen of the Marvel apocalypse are Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan Miss Marvel,
right,
and America Chavez.
Right.
Those are the three horsewomen of the Marvel apocalypse. And so they saw what they did to the comics and how they broke the Marvel universe, and they said to themselves, hey, let's do that in the movies. And let's not do what we usually do, where we take a bad idea from the comics and we, polish it up and we make it good. Let's just give it to a bunch of second-rate creators, because Kevin Feige will find that movie in the editing room. I was looking at, or I was watching a thing on Dark World the other day, and the director was saying that the movie that they put out was not the movie that he actually filmed, and he was locked out of the editing suite. And then it was like, oh, who did the editing? Kevin Feige. So it's like, anytime it seems like Kevin Feige doesn't hire good people and let them do their thing, anytime he gets his fingers in there, it's trash. And of course, everything after Endgame, with the exception of the Sony Spider-Man movie and Guardians, which was a holdover, pretty much garbage.
There it says, with AI, Marvel and DC don't need writers or artists if they're smart. Just get a touch-up team for each so they can churn out work. That would be better.
At this point, it'd be better than those Rick and Morty writers that they were hiring.
I gave up.
AI will write you a better Quantum Mania than we got on the screen.
I thought Phoenix number 11 this week was an AI, but no, it was Stephanie Phillips.
Well, I mean, that's the same thing. It's the same picture, Sully.
Well, just A, no I.
Ayo.
Yeah, that is absolutely fair. Everything just feels artificial. It's just like, she feels like, I am regular person, just like you. I am so relatable. Ha 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 ha. I write comic books. I love them. They are great.
I get so mad that they're retro inserting what's her name, Kamala Khan into all the X-Men and everything like that. It's like, just let it be natural. Stan Lee tried stuff, and if it didn't work, he dropped it and moved on. I don't blame Marvel for, okay, they made Kamala Khan. She failed. Nobody likes her, but they won't stop rebooting the comic and inserting. It's like, dude, it's like Fetch isn't going to catch on. You know what I mean? Remember that movie?
Yeah. Fetch isn't going to happen.
Fetch isn't going to happen. Kamala Khan is
or maybe give Kamala Khan to a writer and let them take some risks with her. Stop just handing them to, you have to be Muslim to write this character. No, you don't. You just have to do some research. That's all you have to do. Put a good writer on it. Put a good team on it. I always say, like, if I could write something at Marvel, which I would never do now, but it's like, who are the characters that I would love to write? Captain America, the Guardians of the Galaxy. I think those characters fit my sensibilities. The X-Men. But who would the challenge be? Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan. Because the challenge would be, can I get these characters over? Can I make these characters likable? Despite every terrible creative that you've had on there and how insufferable those characters have been, can I come up with a story reason to explain that away?
I want to do a Captain Marvel Carol Danvers story so bad. And I think I could redeem the character. I would love to. But yeah.
Well, why would you? Because the money's not there.
Well,
the money's not there. They'd never give you, even if they gave you the opportunity, which they never would.
I'll tell you why I'd do it for $40.
Right, fellas, can we get back on track? I would really love to get my dinner, and you are going on so many side quests. It's starting to drive me a little insane.
You know what? When I'm hosting the show, if we want to run long, we're going to run long. Yeah, that's right. We go all day if we want.
There and back again, as far as I'm concerned, Aaron. Sleep McNagle, the true test of this movie will be the chemistry between Superman and Lex. That's a key element to Superman 78, and it hurt Batman v Superman. Absolutely. You didn't think Batman v Superman, Lex was a threat at all. You just thought he was an
annoying weirdo.
Quirky dipshit, yeah.
That was pretty creepy, cramming that Jolly Rancher in that other guy's mouth. I was like, oh.
I mean, Clancy Brown.
Really weird.
Clancy Brown and Tim Daly in the animated show. That was great.
Oh, Clancy Brown. What a treasure that guy is.
So what do you think? Does he need to grab his sister, cure her cancer, and then make her sick again just to improve a point in this movie, Dylan?
Maybe not in the first movie, but that would be nice to see down the line. Yeah. And it wasn't just cancer. She was a complete vegetable. Like, she just basically didn't exist, and he brought her back to life and then turned her back. It's like, this is your fault, Superman.
And it's also important that as you're watching the movie, like, you realize why people would side with Lex Luthor or why he would be able to turn people against Superman. So he has to have that like command presence that
charisma.
A lot of Lexes don't have.
I think we're gonna get that because of how Nicholas Hoult has been talking about Lex. It seems like we're gonna be getting that because it seems like he's seeing Lex's perspective. It's like, oh, that's good when the actor's talking about it, and he's like seeing how Lex could feel the way he does. So I'm like, all right, I like that. So
one thing I like too is Nicholas Hoult said that he wanted to be Superman, and now he's not Superman. So he says he's bringing some of that resentment into the Lex Luthor role.
I like that. I like that. That's great.
Yeah,
he did screen test. Yep. Ace Liberty. I noticed that when Lois interviews Clark in the trailer, he's wearing the same clothes as after he gets depowered in Superman 2.
It's like a white button up.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're pretty common, but
Yeah.
Oh, the bloody
I think James Gunn's trying to send a message.
that's right. Just like he's trying to send a message by copying all of Snyder's shots. It's if he's if James Gunn cut the trailer to mirror Zack Snyder's Superman trailer, then it's just purely like, let me show you how this is done. That's what it is. But I don't think
that he's done that though. Everything they've done has been an homage to Donner stuff. It's the Lex Luthor suits. It's the song notes. It apparently he's wearing the same exact outfit that you would have gotten from those era movies. So it's clear that he wants your nostalgia to not be Man of Steel. It's Superman 78 and Superman 2.
Yeah, I think that's
100%.
exactly
Yeah.
what
By the way,
But
John,
it's
can
really
I just throw this out there? The fact that Phoenix is on issue 11 and they canceled Weapon X-Men just pisses me off.
It's not fair. I agree, dude. And then Wraith X7, the John Byrne Fantastic Four run is proof, John, that the Fantastic Four do not need to be set in the 60s to work.
I already said this. This was my number one run of all time with Adam Lawson yesterday on my channel. Yes, I agree. This is great. I'm talking about the movie though, because if the Fantastic Four was set now, like the Fantastic Four is supposed to be the first, so the only way to make them the first is to retroactively insert them into the past. In Marvel anyway. So, and the only way to put them in the past is that they're gone for so long. Otherwise, why weren't they there for Loki? Why weren't they there for the Skrull invasion and all that stuff? So, I think for the MCU, setting them in the 60s and then relativistic speeds, they come back now. That would have been, to me, a good way to handle them. But what do I know? I'm just a guy that's been reading comic books since I was 7 years old. I don't know nothing.
Sully, you're still excited for this Fantastic Four movie, aren't you?
Not
you like
one
Jeff
bit.
the Land Shark. Don't act like you're above everything.
Oh, give me a Jeff the Land Shark red band where it's extra cute stuff in the inside for the variant covers. I think that's my cup of tea. No, I mean Pedro Pascal is a big turnoff to me. I mean seriously, it's activist shit. You keep your mouth shut and
Yep.
you know what I mean. And please,
Somebody in the chat said they got the stupidest man on the planet to play the smartest man on the planet.
cosmic
He can act
irony.
like he's smart. He's good in Narcos. He's good in the fucking Game of Thrones.
Game of
He's a good
Thrones.
actor.
He was good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's an empty shell, so he can embody a role, because you just fill him up with whatever idea is in the script, and he can go out there and do it, just like he can be filled up with any idea that is given to him and go out there and run his mouth.
Dylan, has the younger generation also turned on Pedro Pascal, or is it just these old guys like me?
I think it's just the old guys, to be honest. I see everyone really likes Pedro Pascal.
Get off my lawn, kid.
He
Zoomers
says
aren't
he says a lot of dumb stuff, but it's like ask an actor anything and they're gonna say something retarded. That's just how it goes. So I think he's a good actor. My main complaint is that they should have made him shave for playing Reed.
Yeah,
that's what's
stupid mustache.
Like, why didn't they make him shave? That's stupid. But yeah, I think he's a really good actor.
When Pedro Pascal comes in, I want him to go, Susie, I'm home. Nobody gets that. Okay.
No.
Oh,
Ricky Ricardo.
I wanted a nice.
I think he's a good
Superman
actor.
with a big ass fucking mustache, a big porn stash. I think that's how you should do Superman.
Like
Well,
when
remember they
Cameron
had to
came back, he should've-
CGI it out. Yeah,
That's so weird.
yeah, that gray stash in Mission Impossible.
Well, there we go. I guess it's time to talk about our comic book recommendations. I want to say thank you, obviously, to Neon for joining us today and everyone for backing the Cheto. And let's talk about some comic books people should definitely be reading. John, what are you recommending this week, dude?
Oh, I'm a big fanatic for the Goon, Eric Powell's Goon. I love this comic. Dan Panosian, Lost Boys. This is number 2. I'm sure. Can you read it? I don't have the copy with me now, but Vatican City with Per Berg and Mark Miller. So real good stuff. I got Battle Beasts. I'm looking at my stack of new comics right over here. Contrary to popular belief, I still do get new comics. I still like comics. I quit Marvel and DC in 2015, and I never went back. So the only time I read it is when Wes he gives me homework, and I feel like I don't want to do this.
I feel bad. Everyone read Gwenpool, and we didn't get to it.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Yeah, you should feel really bad about that. You inflicted Gwenpool on us. And we
but
didn't
I'm
even
talking about it right now. It's
You got a flippant social media post out of it, Aaron. That's good.
But
That's true. That's true. I did. I just think Gwenpool is a character that doesn't need to exist, and I understand
right.
there's like five or six people that like her.
Jordan White edited Dead Gwenpool #1, so it's kind of like he's still lionizing his ex-work wife, isn't she not?
Mm-hmm.
If I could push, Genuine Comics has a comic called Perfect 10. You go to genuinecomics.com. It's an indie comic. To me, this is the best superhero comic coming out right now. This Dave Brink, he's a guy from the Netherlands. English is his second language, and he gets superheroes better than Americans who've been doing. You know what I mean? It's so good, so much fun. It's the way I describe this. It's 90s comics, but with actually good writing. So there you go. 90s image with good writing. Good comics. Phenomenova. I get all of the Ghost Machine comics. I'm a big Jeff Johns fan. He's another guy that was just one of my go-to comic book creators. I tend to follow creators more than characters and companies these days. Anything Mike Mignola, I absolutely love. I'm still a big Hellboy fan, and that's it as far as new comics. I'm filling all the holes in my collection of old comics. Like, this is colored by Oscar Crano, who's doing Kneel Before Doomface and my comic Heroic Tales. So he recommended Battle Gods to me, so I got to get this. It's Aztec and Inca gods fighting it out in arena. It's awesome.
Very nice.
There you go.
And definitely check out his Heroic Tales on crowdfunding right now. Link in the video description.
Yeah,
Obviously,
on my
very
comic,
excited about that.
Heroic Tales 2, it's available now. The campaign is chugging along, and I'm going to be actually shipping early. I think we're going to be done soon. Renzo just submitted up to page 12, and 12 out of 20 pages. I got two 20-page stories, so half of the comic is already done, complete. Aaron, did I send you the Mary Sue story?
No, I don't think I have anything.
I'll send it to you. Tell me what you think. I'd really
send it over to me.
Very nice. Nerd says Kamala had the same potential of a John Kent and the same trajectory. Also, why the heck is Miles in New York and not Chicago?
Why that?
It's got to be Spider-Man. Spider-Man's in New York, and they're trying to make him Spider-Man.
I got a better question. Why the hell is Miles at all?
He was the last vestiges of the Ultimate Universe. They wanted to bring him in, I guess. I think Miles is fine. My kids like the Across the Spider-Verse movies. I think it's pretty cool. Movie. Dylan, do you think that Kamala Khan had the same potential as John Kent, though?
Not even close, no, because John was an actual character when he was created. Kamala wasn't. But I think you could still make Kamala a good character. But I think John had a much brighter trajectory than Kamala.
The
other thing about Kamala is you'd have to butt her up against her parents' belief system and her religion.
Yes,
you would have to make that a central part of her being a superhero. Is the way that kind of like rubs up against what is expected of her in her faith and by her family, and nobody is brave enough to do that because you cannot.
Absolutely,
cannot
I would love to. If I got Miss Marvel, first off, she's doomed she's got a horrible power. Girls don't want to stretch and embiggen and deform their bodies. She should have had more Captain Marvel powers: flight, strength, laser beams. I know it's generic.
Oh, we could do this all day, John, but Wes has got to get his nuggets, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do need to get some chicken nuggets.
I do. Really
Wallace certainly had a lot of potential, but mostly just wasted. But they haven't had a character really good over for a while.
Those powers.
And nobody's paying us to fix her, so let's not do it.
Yeah.
It is true. All right, Sully, you read a whole bunch of comic books. You read 19 Marvel books. You went to your favorite comic book shop. Do you got any recommendations?
This is my my stack. I got my pull list. I got 5 books this week. Started off with Mark Miller's Huck, Big Bad World #1 with art by Raphael Albuquerque. And okay, I like Mark Miller, but some of his books I don't get, kind of like Prodigy, Magic Order. But I usually I'm a satisfied fan. But the art in this, I mean, Albuquerque's line art is pretty good, but everything looks like it was just done on an iPad. And so we were talking about like little things that just pull you out of your enjoyment. And I guess because you think about it this way, Mark Miller's in England and globetrotting with his family. Raphael Albuquerque's in Brazil. The Dark Horse offices are in Oregon and LA, and the printer is in Canada. So everything's connected by the digital part of this, and it really looks digital on the printed page. I feel like the printed page sometimes could be the last things that they think about. You know what I mean? In this day of digital, but it was a good story. Green Lantern Corps. I got a triple threat of Jeremy Adams this week. Green Lantern Corps number 4. It was pretty interesting. I mean, is Teen Lantern likable yet? I don't know. Let me know if you know. But Guy is most definitely Guy Gardner in this. So maybe it's like you can really have a feel for where the two writers, are having their writing their parts in this. Flash Gordon, number 9 on Mad Cave. This is a fun book. It's really great and such an iconic character. Jeremy Adams is really good at finding these characters' true voices, the reliable, consistent voices that we're used to seeing out of these great old-time characters. So really good. And Aquaman number 5. Yes, please. This was fun. Great art. And seeing this kind of mean streak in Arthur, it's like this is.
What'd you think of the new character?
Which new character was that again?
Titanus.
It's okay. It
That's
seems
the gayest
like
thing you've ever said in your life. Titanus is fucking awesome.
You got
a hammerhead shark barbarian, dude. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like I like the last page, the reveal, and he's good. Jeremy Adams is just good at storytelling. You leave a little bit at the end with a great cliffhanger, and it's just very satisfying. So hats off to Jeremy Adams. He's 3 for 3 this week. But my pick of the week, Transformers number 20. What a fun book. Great action scenes. I mean, Megatron heals Starscream to 100% just to
do not spoil it.
What?
Do not spoil it. What are you doing?
I'm not.
People haven't read the book yet. That's like an amazing moment. You can't spoil that.
Oh my goodness! I didn't say anything, did I? Can't prove it. But I do like that one of my favorite GI Joes are in this, and I find the irony too of Ultra Magnus about being in that situation for all those years with Shockwave, and then fleeing the battlefield a few issues ago, but now in his current situation, I mean, oh boy, this guy can't catch a break. And then this is one panel, actually 2 panels. We see his eyes, and then a slight close up. And it's sky warp, and he's hot wired into Ultron 1 still. And I think that's a really good story note. And I think that's going to come to bite the Autobots in the ass. Hopefully very time soon. That's going to be fun. But this is a great book. And those are my picks of the week that I got at my local comic book shop, where I go once a week and I spend my money there, because comic book shops are local businesses. They are independent bookstores. They are the American dream. So, don't go to the big box stores. Don't buy them off of, your online supply chains. Get out of your house. Go to your local comic book shop. Get your boards, your bags, and your boxes there while you're at it, because you probably need some supplies. And thank you so much, Wes. It's been a fun week.
Carlitos Figueroa says, it's a great year to be a Superman fan. Is that in fact true?
Yes.
Dylan.
Yeah.
I
We got the Superman movie coming out. We got Philip Kennedy Johnson coming back for a Superman book. Josh Williamson, Dan Mora firing on all cylinders on the main Superman title. It's looking good right now.
Well,
As
what
long as you
about
avoid the
Action
Dan
Comics
Slott
and Supergirl?
Avoid the Dan Slott book, and you're fine.
Yeah, we got Dan Slott, which is rough. We got Mark Waid, which I don't care about, and I don't care about Supergirl, and also the
G.
crypto.
Willow Wilson.
Yeah, the crypto book didn't exactly have.
You got 2 solid years
I
of
care about
Joshua
either.
Williamson stories, which I'm still entertained with.
Yeah, for the most part, it's looking up.
Very nice. So what are your comic book recommendations, dude?
Heavy DC week. I would say Absolute Batman number 8, even though there's no Nick Dragotta, was still fun. And also we get to see this Batman actually take an L for once, which was cool. He doesn't just solve everything. So I like that. We got Batman Robin number 21, which I think is the best book at DC right now. It's still really good. Batman Dark Patterns number 6, still really enjoying that. Aquaman number 5, already talked about. Geiger number 14, Geiger's still great, always good. And then Battle Beast number 1. Battle Beast was really fun. So those are my
Bloody fun,
recommendations.
dude.
Yeah, that was sick. And the setup for the next issue. Can't wait.
Absolutely. Last but not least, I do want to give a thank you to Aaron Sparrow, who is going to bring 2 episodes of the Comics Aficionados to you while I'm on vacation on the 24th of May and the 7th of June. Really appreciate that, Aaron. Are you recommending any comic books this week?
I am. You know what? Maybe I'll do some nighttime live streams too. Maybe I'll just mix it up. I'll just jump on and then we'll have some impromptu comics aficionados at random times during the week. What if we do that? I don't know. Anything could happen.
No, I don't want that. The Comics Aficionados is a Saturday program, 10 a.m. Eastern, has been for 7 years. I don't want to ruin I've got a time slot, Aaron.
No, we won't do that show. We'll just do something else. We'll just come on and just be just random chaos
after dark. Everyone's
That's
like
right.
naked.
Doc's gonna come tell some of his wilder stories. But no, I'm just you got to me kind of last, so I'm gonna go over everything else that everybody else said, which is I got back into Transformers with it is a great week for comics. I got back into Transformers this month with issue 20. You put up that teaser and it made me check it out, and now I'm going to go back and buy the issues that I skipped. So I'm back in on the Energon Transformers. Green Lantern Corps number 4, Aquaman number 5, Flash Gordon number 9. It's Jeremy Adams week. You can't go wrong. And then I'm going to also recommend Space Ghost 12. Because that continues to be just a kick-ass comic book. I think that David Pepose is really killing it on that. I did not enjoy his Captain Planet because it contained too many modern deisms. But Space Ghost, you don't get any of that because it's just a setting where that wouldn't work. So he's good to not do the Dan Slott and try to cram that stuff into there.
So for me, it's between Space Ghost, Aquaman, and Transformers for my book of the week. Obviously, you'll have to check out Best of the Week for me to name it. But those are 3 that would have been best book on almost every other week. It was absolutely phenomenal this week. Great stuff. There you go. Hope everyone else enjoyed the books. What were you saying, Dylan?
I was going to say, did you guys see the first look at the Snake Eyes game? That came out this week also.
I talked to it with Aaron, and he acted like he didn't care. He was like,
that is not what happened.
So we finally got our first look. It's not much, but it's like, yes, at least it's like happening. It's not. Yeah, it's not one of those games where it just gets canceled the year after it was announced. So that's good.
I know.
At least we got to look at it. So it's happening. So I'm happy about that.
Definitely cool to me.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. You got lots of comics to enjoy, and we will see you. Well, I'll see you in a month, but Aaron will see you next weekend with a whole gaggle of fools.
That's right. Should be fun.